Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast, the wrestling podcast we review every segment of Raw and give you guys the wrestling news of the week. My name is Turbo Tony. Oh, you didn't see it coming that quickly, did you? You thought I was going to make something elaborate, didn't you? Didn't you? Not this week, damn it. Not this week. That is the real surprise. However, beside me, we do have a man who likes to help me along these wrestling quests that we go on each week, elaborating about the weekly wrestling, and he has a particular likeness for tag team matches. Holla holla, it's Matty Long.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll accept that.
Okay, he's like that. Yeah, that's cool.
As long as it's not like Matt Laurinaitis or something like that.
I don't think I've got, like, if I tried to do his voice, like, right at the start of the podcast, then
you'd be screwed for the next 2 hours. It's just like,
Yeah, exactly. And I end up, like, talking like Laurinaitis all the way through. And I don't think our viewers can handle that, to be honest. So, how you doing this week, Matt?
Yeah, not too bad. Had some time away and restart the batteries and things.
Exactly.
Recharge.
You've been, taking some time back and enjoying, the high life. And you caught all of Raw in one day today. Watching. So.
I did. But I still managed to get NXT done whilst I was away. I like how my priorities are in the right place.
And, watching a little bit of Lucha Underground here and there this week as well. Which we will talk about a little bit as we go along. That does involve our match of the week. So, busting that old saying that we used to state all the time back in the early days. As always, if you do want to follow us on Twitter, the handle is @TalkWrestlePod. You can count all of Matt's tweets involving the show. Great way to keep. I think the easiest way to get notifications of when the newest episodes are out every Sunday, or sometimes earlier if we're feeling generous and doing it on an earlier time. On the show this week we have a jam-packed show as we always. I think we've had like 3 back-to-back over 2-hour episodes of the show. But regardless, we've got plenty of stuff to talk about this week. We've got some very interesting news to talk about. We've got our fan feedback, which as always you guys are loving, leaving us awesome questions each and every week. I wonder how long you guys can keep it up. That's my question. Because you can't keep... It's got to be a time where all the questions have been asked. So apparently not. You guys have even scratched the surface. So we're obviously here happy to answer all the questions. And we take great joy in that. We've got our fail of the week. That's right. It's me. It's still back. I've not removed it again for another segment like I did over this month.
Like we've done a lot.
A lot recently. No, it's back. And I've got a good one. This week, involving Shawn Michaels, who was in last week's one as well. So some people may be thinking, what's that got to do with things? Well, we'll obviously allude to that. We've got our Raw review. Will the first hour of Raw this week suck as much as last week? Well, that was a question that we will answer later on in the show. Before we get started, though, I would like to state, just openly on the show, the last episode we did garnered more dislikes than we've had in a very long time. We still got loads of likes because, our fans are awesome. But I think maybe my sentiment of whether or not R-Truth made me quit the show pissed a few people off. And, R-Truth's not that bad. Well, still. I think I have a little bit more to say in regards to R-Truth considering, the whole potatoes thing. I live in Ireland, okay?
That's it. It's almost like a racial attack for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm not Irish, but I live here. My children are a mix of Irish and English and everything. So, but yeah, as always, every now and then we're going to garner a little bit of negative feedback. But it's fine. It's not one of those lines. It was still a kick-ass episode, and a lot of our fans enjoyed it, and that's what we're here to do. The fact is, a large part of me, and this is just to go before we carry on, a large part of me, while we want to cater to fans and their interests and what they want to hear about, at the same time we want to kind of state of who we are. So getting likes and dislikes doesn't really matter as much. We've said that openly on the show before. We love the support in terms of subscribers and interacting with us, but we're going to stay carrying on as much as we are, because otherwise we become like fake and we're starting to twist our opinions to, we can't say this because it annoys people. Well, actually, no, we'll say it because that's what we feel like. So,
because that's what I think.
Yeah. Otherwise, the show becomes, it becomes disingenuous, and that's the worst thing I'd want to be doing each week, is sitting here and just blabbing out about crap. So, It's not what we're here for. Not the kind of podcast that I imagine the majority of our fans are subscribed for, and that's what they like to listen to. Anyway, enough lollygagging about all that stuff. That's a cool word, lollygagging. Do like that. Let's get straight into the news. We've got a few interesting news stories. One of them particularly tragic, and that story broke first down, but we'll leave that till last. The first two news stories have stories involving what happened at Raw this week. And I didn't leave this at the Raw recap because it obviously didn't happen on camera. But the very first thing that happened is that you may have noticed at the beginning of Raw this week that there were a collection of awesome individuals dressed as various professional wrestlers in the front row. You know, they were in the front seats.
Yeah.
Of the show.
I mean, especially it's like none of the new guys as well. It was all like we had like IRS and sort of all of that, and it's just like, oh, that was nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I loved all that stuff, and they've got pictures up of them being really excited to go in. These group of people obviously paid good money to get the front seats at this Raw, and then suddenly, as you may have realised, as the show goes on, those costumes disappear, and they suddenly armed with John Cena t-shirts. And apparently, it's according to what happened, is that just after the start of the show, I believe just before the Divas match, or just after the Divas match.
I think it was during the Divas match, because I noticed how sort of Paige and AJ were sort of looking at it and sort of talking about it.
Yeah, they seemed to find it quite funny, didn't they? And they were talking about that. And sometime during that period of the show, the costumes were gone and they were replaced with...
Yeah, and I noticed there was a very long... Because I knew this had happened before I watched Raw.
Yeah.
And there was a long moment where it was sort of like away from the ring, and I was just like, what's... Oh, the Busters made him change.
Yeah, exactly. This is really crap, obviously. I didn't think that they were that distracting. I think, obviously, what they were wearing was quite funny. You kind of look at them, oh, you know, it's pretty cool. But it's not going to be too distracting for the show. They weren't jumping up and showing and going, woo, every now and then. You know, they were
not at all.
distracting in that fashion, so I don't think these guys...
If anything, I thought the one person who was most distracting was the guy who had the sign which was hashtag you're a turd.
Yeah, that's the next one I'm getting into, next story getting into there. So let's talk about that now, and we'll talk about them both in generalization, because I think it highlights a very big problem that WWE has in allowing its fan base to organically appreciate the show. And that's quite a big statement to make, and there's quite a few, you know, exhibits, shall we say, that we could evidence to support that theory. So the second part of the news is reports that fans had Daniel Bryan's signs taken away from them because apparently there were too many already, and as you say there, Matt, the one calling him a turd managed to get through. Apparently that was fine to get through.
Was it directed at...
Yeah, on SmackDown, it was they ran a segment where Dean Ambrose called him a turd, and that's what it's in regard to.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, lovely.
Okay, because I noticed, I did pick up on the fact that on commentary they were mentioning, like why are they saying turd?
Yeah.
I was sort of, like, really confused. It's like, I know it's PG, and they can't say shit, but turd?
Yeah, it's odd. I don't know why they're going along that route. But we'll go back into this story, into what's going on here. Obviously, this isn't the first story that we've heard of fans having their signs taken away. It seems to happen all the time. But this is the first one that I think of a recent nature, at least, that kind of alludes to the fact that WWE are being selective about what signs they do take away.
Yeah.
And they're signs that were obviously trying to promote Daniel Bryan. Now, that's not to say that, you know, there could be some... At the end of the day, they should let all these signs through if they're not of an offensive nature. You know, that's the fact of the way it should be. But WWE have got this, you know, this thing now. Basically, what I'm alluding to with these two news stories is that WWE, in its sense, has gone corporate. We all know that. But in that sense as well, what I mean is not just they've gone corporate in name, they've gone corporate by nature now, and they're trying to mini manage everything in regards to what is shown in front of their television cameras. Yeah. And the problem with doing that is that you can do that a lot. And all power to you if you want to do that, but don't expect the fans to be actively involved in what you're doing when you micromanage them in that fashion.
Yeah.
So when you're forcing these guys to change their clothes, when you're denying them their signs to come in.
Well, I hope they got those T-shirts for free.
Oh, I definitely hope so. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But the fact of the matter is, this is a choice actively made by WWE because they want to control everything that's on their camera screens. Yeah. They want to control exactly what is on there, and that includes the fans. The problem with that is that you lose the organic feeling that the fans have. Fans aren't going to pop huge for big wrestlers anymore. They're not going to try and chant and all these lines because they realise that, WWE more likely will probably sound it out as they have done sometimes.
Yeah, we'll just give them what WWE... I think it's one that kind of comes from... I'd hate to blame the situation. I know it was booked that way, but with Daniel Bryan, it's like, suddenly as a result, every member of the crowd thought, my voice matters and WWE will listen to me. But they're just like, well, it's our company.
Yeah. I fully agree. You hit it right on the head there. I think Vince, looking back at it now, is very pissed off that he was pushed into the situation where he couldn't book what he wanted to book. Whereas this year, he's booking what he wants to book, and fuck everyone if they're trying to stop him from doing it, which is Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. Now, obviously, our thoughts on that. I still think that Reigns, I'm going to go and talk into a little bit about defending Reigns, because I feel like the guy is getting a really hard rap, and we've said this all along, right?
Yeah.
He's been managed poorly. Do I still think he's a potential huge star for the company? Absolutely. Yeah. So, I will get into that a little bit more later. But you don't help him when you're constantly trying to smother your audience into basically obedience.
Well, especially, I'm pretty sure it was on Raw that I spotted a sign of we don't want Reigns or something like that. Something along those lines. And it's like, Jesus. Like, a year ago, everyone was just like, fucking Reigns. Like, Roman Reigns can do no wrong. Roman Reigns can win everything. And now suddenly it's just like, oh, he's such a dick.
Yeah, I tell you, that Royal Rumble did a lot of damage for him going in. I do think, like I said, I think Roman Reigns... people chose to boo Batista because he was taking a spot away from a hard-working person. Roman Reigns, he's worked. He's earning. He's a new star. I don't have nearly as much of an issue with Roman Reigns having that spot than Batista. But the fact is, when you watch other organizations, like for instance, I watched the main event of Lucha Underground this week, which was fantastic.
Oh, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you're watching the fan responses to that, right? They are not. It's almost like they can say, they can shout, they can chant, whatever the fuck they like, and they can do it because that's okay, because they seem to have more respect for their fans over at Lucha Underground, right? And so when you've got wrestlers being literally thrown into the crowd aren't going to be like, oh, fuck, what the fuck's going on here? They love it. It's all part of the show. It's got very ECW sort of feel.
Yeah, I very much had a ECW sort of feel watching it. I was just sort of like, this is great.
Yeah. And the problem is now is that when you've got fans coming into WWE, they're too afraid of being giving WWE some really cool stories. Imagine if they had taken those guys instead of forcing them to change, but taken them, maybe done an interview with them and showed them as these super fans of WWE. Oh, these guys love coming and dressing up as our superstars, as our legends. WWE, they could have turned it into a good story.
Just quickly catch them backstage sort of thing, like after the show or something.
Send out someone too and say, look, you guys look great, fantastic. Do you mind staying after the show? We'll get a few words from you. We'll put it up on WWE.com.
They managed to get a producer down there to turn around and tell them off.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, guys, sorry, we're going to need you to change.
Yeah.
When surely they could just go, actually, we like what you've done.
Yeah.
Do you fancy, doing a little bit for TV?
Yeah. It's like, say, you're not exactly promoting them, but you can do something to, you can do it so you can make it seem like your fans are die-hard fans and they love your show and, they're really into it and they come to the live events pumped up and ready. And now it's gone the other way where, WWE doesn't want their fans to show any creativity. They don't want their fans to be involved in the show.
Did you see the letter from one of the guys?
Yes, I did, yeah.
And it was just sort of like he's just like, I'm going to carry on watching the product. This isn't going to turn me away from it, but I just don't get it.
You just don't feel like you're involved in it. You tried to become involved in it. You tried to get excited, and I feel for these guys. I really do. They must have had loads of people shaking their hand, thinking, "Oh, these guys have got some fucking awesome costumes, and they're really going all out." They get to the show, and the only people that aren't into what they're wearing is WWE. The rest of their fans would have fucking loved it, and I guarantee that everyone in that arena, apart from the management, enjoyed the fact that they dressed up like that. I did. I thought it was fucking awesome.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, but this is WWE now. They want to micromanage everything, and this isn't anything new. And I would strongly urge anyone, maybe try and think, oh, maybe I should bring a sign into WWE. Just be fully aware that it might be a perfectly serviceable sign. In fact, you might be wearing something that may be nice, and they may tell you, we don't want you looking like that. Fuck off. It's not so much, oh, we can't ban you from your seat. It's like, okay, go buy a John Cena t-shirt because we're not letting you wear that t-shirt, and we're not.
Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. Is that official? Is that official WWE merch? No. Oh well. Looks like we have a problem.
Yeah. Good luck showing up to WWE event and trying to promote someone that's outside of that company. Your sign will get fucking destroyed. They will rip it up in front of your face. And obviously WWE have to protect their brand, but this isn't for their own wrestlers. This is for Daniel Bryan. You're taking signs off people? No. Sorry, that doesn't fly with me. I think WWE rue their mistakes when they go to some of these towns and they get dead reactions because it's the way that they've smothered their audience into obedience, essentially, and they'll pay the price for it. They really will. That's one of the reasons why wrestling doesn't seem nearly as hot anymore, because it just doesn't. Flat answer to that. To that frustrating news about WWE, and unfortunately with that news, we kind of expect it now. That's the worst part of that news. We expect these news stories to come out week after week. But we go from that to tragic news, unfortunately, and some of the keener eyes may have seen this. Obviously, as we had, it would be yesterday morning. Mexican wrestler Perro Aguayo, I think that's how his name is stated. I'm obviously not great with that language, so apologies. Has passed away, and he did so involving a nasty spot in a Triple A match, which actually also involved Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
The footage is out there. I'm not going to put any links or anything along those lines up to it. If you really want to go see it, I'm sure you can find it. The internet is the internet. I did see the footage for myself for the show, and it doesn't make for good watching.
Yeah, I've seen it in a few different. I saw a proper TV tape one, and then I saw a proper close-in camera for it as well, and it's just like, ah.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable. So essentially, what happens here is that people initially were not so much blaming. Some people are, but stating that the spot came after a 619 spot. From the footage I watched, I can't see how that was possible from that spot. It may have been from a drop kick spot earlier on in the match, which I did see. But I still, at the moment, I can't find where this whiplash event that eventually and tragically caused Aguayo's death.
The thing is, I don't think it was a whiplash. I think it was that bit because Ray goes for the drop kick, which forces Aguayo to the second rope.
Yeah.
And apparently, I've seen and heard reports that was the moment that he essentially crashed his trachea.
Oh, okay.
On the rope.
And then obviously, from that point, they apparently reports.
That's why, because who's in the blue and red? He was in TNA for a while. He was in
Havoc.
the match.
Havoc. Yeah.
He was the one that essentially ducks the 619 to sort of break the spot.
Yeah. He's the first one that kind of realizes there's something wrong here.
Yeah, shit's gone down. Yeah.
Now, apparently, according to sources, he didn't die in the ring. He was actually unconscious but stable. But from being removed from the ring and then out, sometime throughout that time and going to the hospital, he did pass away, and he has tragically died. This is really tragic stuff, and I imagine. Now, first of all, people blaming Rey Mysterio. I've seen nothing in the video that makes Rey Mysterio in any sort of blame for this.
No.
So people blaming him are incorrect, as far as I can see. And even if a spot that involved Rey Mysterio did interact with this tragic death, it's nothing that Rey Mysterio would have done out of the norm, and he didn't do anything as unsafe as he usually would have. So he's completely.
It's not something that he hasn't already done 100 times, 1,000 times before.
It wasn't like a hugely botched spot in which that he caused a mistake that tragically led to this. No, it was just a usual match that maybe something happened, and then this has ended up in this fashion.
Yeah.
And it's horrible news for them, and I imagine horrible news also for Mysterio, who's just getting back into wrestling. He's only just come out of WWE.
Yeah.
So, for him to be now caught up in this, and as much as we can say this, I know from covering Mysterio for a number of years, he must be in hell right now. Let's just be
Yeah.
honest. Yeah, whether or not you know that you've involved in this or not, you were still there. You were still in the match with this guy. You're always gonna have it in the back of your mind. What if I did this? Would he still be with us? It's a horrible way to feel, and he's a very feeling guy, as you know from watching him so long and in tons of interviews. He's a genuine guy, Mysterio. So he's obviously in a
Oh
really
yeah,
bad
definitely.
place.
Especially sort of with the whole time after Eddie, and it's just sort of whether that will just basically bring the whole thing back to him full circle.
Yeah. But no, there's nothing that Mysterio could. I don't. There's nothing here different. I think that would have changed it. I think
No.
this is the unfortunate happening of it, and obviously we wish here. Very unlikely that we'll have any AAA fans or the family involved listen to this show. But hell, if you do, our thoughts are along with you in this tough time, obviously. And unfortunately, it's not been the first time we've had to cover a wrestler's death on this show, and every single time it gets harder to do. But that's the wrestling news, unfortunately, and sometimes it's not sweet. More often than not, it's quite unfortunate. So. Moving on to our fan feedback, let's get a little bit of some smiles up in this place, because we come here to have fun, to be entertained, and to be, to hear the news and stuff. So some fan feedback always gets us in the mood for that. Let's get pumped up back into this now. Fan feedback, here we go. Manricky Tobacco 1 asks, have we considered doing a vlog at the Raw that we're going to? As like a live reaction from us guys at the show, not showing the ring or something, but our reaction to what's going on, our thoughts maybe after the show in a quick message. I'll let you answer that, Matt. Will we do a vlog?
I don't see why not. Do you know, it never even crossed my mind.
Yeah, we might do a video. I was thinking more than likely, if there's a video to be done, it will probably be done probably on your phone, and then we would put it up on the Twitter page. More than likely, that's where things will happen. So, more incentive to go and follow us on Twitter, because that sort of stuff probably won't come up on the channel. Hell, we may even do a couple. We might do one before the show and our thoughts, getting excited, one mid-show, maybe one after show. It depends on how we're feeling at the time. We've already promised a picture, at least. But sure, yeah, we can do a video. Not got no issue.
Yeah, why the hell not?
Why not? So Kane St. Dennis asks, what is the worst finishing move of all time? It's quite a big question there. Worst finishing move of all time.
It's tough. I can't say. Because if you think nowadays, like, it needs to be some sort of 360 moonsault powerbomb sort of thing to try and look impressive, where you go back 20, 30, 40 years and it's like, when you look at Hogan, a leg drop.
Yeah.
Was a finisher.
Which apparently was annihilating. People just get killed.
And now you'll see people do about 5 leg drops a match.
Yeah. Almost little effect sort of thing.
Oh.
I don't
think it's a case of like what finisher do I think is the worst, or just one that I don't like.
Well, I can't say categorically, because, we only think of these on like a week basis. There's obviously one we're going to miss. So that's why we'd like to hear your feedback in regards to that. I've got 3 picks. First off is Wade Barrett's Wasteland. I think that move looks like he's basically... I know sometimes he tries to get force on it, but come on, you're just basically rolling off his back. Doesn't look that sore, really, to be honest. Number 2... the attitude adjustment. I think it's ironic, considering that move is essentially a glorified fireman's carry. Yeah, which is a very simple maneuver. And it's like, it's billed as this devastating move that, you take it and you're annihilated, and it's like taking out so many classic wrestlers. And I just think it's quite ironic every time that I see it. That it looks quite comfortable, to be honest, at times. But along those lines. And my third one is not so much that the move is bad, but the consequences of the move is bad, and it is the Styles Clash. I think too many people have had their neck broken via the Styles Clash. So to me, in different terms than the first two, that is the worst finishing move of all time, because it actually injures people.
Okay.
No, I'm not stating whether or not that's Styles' fault or the people he does it on, but people still get injured. You look at the track record. Yoshitatsu may never wrestle again. And there's a few other people that may never wrestle again because of that move. So that's my 3 picks. I was tempted to pick in terms of believability The Worm, but I fucking love The Worm. So...
Nobody fucking insults The Worm.
Exactly.
I was trying to think now. What could my...
Let's face it, none of these moves even have a scratch on the most devastating finishing move of all time.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Not the schoolboy roll-up.
Exactly. That's one move that doesn't suck. That's taken on plenty of people.
I've got to admit, I'm not a big fan of... as much as I love it, like, you say The Worm, and it's going on the same sort of path, the stink face.
Oh, yeah, I get what you mean, yeah. Okay, fair enough.
But,
was that really a finisher? I think really his finisher was more him jumping from the middle rope and squeezing them with his arse, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. The rack attack? I'm not a big fan of the rack attack.
Let's see, the rack attack still looks like it hurts, you know.
Yeah, but I don't like it.
Okay, but to me, I think that's fine as a finishing move.
I can just imagine, like, every time I watch it, it's like, Nikki Bella's going to blow out a knee.
Yeah, it's going to happen at some point, yeah.
I don't wish it upon them. I know a lot of people have blown out knees, but...
I've got one. The Rock's version of the sharpshooter, because it doesn't look like it hurts at all.
Yeah, the weak,
Yeah, because literally...
The blunt shooter.
He's basically just holding literally their 2 ankles and kind of just standing there a little bit and screaming in pain.
I have your feet.
Yeah.
What do you say?
It's just slightly uncomfortable sort of thing. Yeah. There's a few picks.
I don't really think there's. Yeah, there's a few.
Out of the 3, what do you think?
Carly's, the great Carly's chop.
Yeah. But I could actually convict, getting hit by a hand that big will probably cause a few brain cells.
Yeah, I know, but every time I just imagine just like a bonk sound effect.
Yeah.
I don't like the Big Show's punch.
Oh yeah, I fucking hate that punch.
Because it's a punch.
And the reason
it's a closed fist in a wrestling match.
Because the way they book it though is the worst thing. It's like, oh, he punches them and they're knocked out. So why the fuck don't you do that every single time you get into the ring? Just the first thing you do, punch them.
Bonk.
Done.
Yeah.
You should be like Brock Lesnar, just fucking unbeatable.
But then the referee just even in the corner, you've got someone up in the corner. That referee's probably going to come over there and remind you, open hand.
Yeah.
No, not Big Show and his ironclad contract.
Yeah.
Punch. Done.
There's a few just moves that just don't really work. I think I'm glad that Paige changed her page turner and she rarely uses that anymore because that one's a little bit as well. So, but I don't think there's any class. I think that the worst finishing move. I just got to go with the Styles Clash because it's just injured people, and I know it's a fun move and it looks cool. It injures people. You can't get as much as the bullshit I could say about the AA and stuff like that, and things just look completely and Wade Barrett's Wasteland. Yeah, they look unbelievable, but you don't hear of them getting anyone's neck broken by it, And
yeah,
I've always attained that Styles needs to get a new finishing move stat because if it happens again, which it probably will,
if he ends another career with it.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Alfie Young asks, who would you like to see return for one more match who is currently alive and we think can still have a good match? That to me is a tough question because I think the last person that really you'd think would be doing that would probably be Sting, and he's returning now. The last person to... Well, he's not even returning, but you get what I mean, legend to come in.
Yeah, I mean... I can't think of anyone, to be honest.
The one person I think of, and the only program I think that would work really well for him, is Kurt Angle, and he comes in and he works with Daniel Bryan. That's a match I would like to see.
It's a match I'd like to see, but I don't understand why Bryan. Or is it just because...
Technicality.
It sounds... Okay, because it sounds a bit like a dream match.
Yeah. I mean, this is just off. Obviously, that wouldn't happen, and obviously, Triple H's got no intention to Kurt Angle come back to the company.
Yeah, it would be technically beautiful.
Yeah, but I think he's one of the last guys. I mean, you look at a lot of the guys that left and went to TNA. You're looking at your Kevin Nashes. You're looking at your RVDs. Christians. They've all come back from TNA. Back to WWE. There isn't that many people that went and stayed. You got Anderson, Kurt Angle. I wouldn't want to see Mr. Anderson back in WWE.
No.
But people to come back, Hell, I think you could probably put Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in there at the age of 150 and still be able to out-wrestle half the people. So maybe him again, who knows?
Yeah.
Jesus
or
Christ.
Superfly.
No, not Superfly. Superfly just looks horrible. So.
We'll just bring back Superfly and Ricky Steamboat, and then we'll just...
Ricky Steamboat is like, at this point of their lives, he's like 5 times the wrestler than Snook. Snooker just looks in a bad state, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's probably my answer to that is probably Angle. But let's face it, realistically, I mean, if Angle was going to be back in WWE, he would have been by now. He wanted to leave TNA to go back to WWE, and Triple H, in all intents and purposes, said, "Fuck you, you're not coming back." So he's not
I don't need you anymore.
Which is why now he is in TNA, and he's still doing work there, and he will retire there because WWE don't want him.
Yep.
Sad state of affairs for him, but at least he's got work. Bazooka Majin calls last week's episode of the show a humdinger of a show. Do appreciate that. And he asks us what is our favourite Money in the Bank ladder match and who had the best payoff from winning the briefcase in said match. Good question. I'm going to answer the last question first, which is who got the best payoff. And I firmly believe that Edge, the first winner, got the best payoff. And the reason why I state that, not only did he win the title, and some may say, well, he won the title and then he lost it the month afterwards. It wasn't so much him winning the belt. I think him winning that briefcase, cashing it in and winning, was the transition he needed to be a constant main event from that point forward.
Yeah.
So from then...
It was sort of like teetering, and then suddenly it's like, bam! Edge's main event.
Yeah, and then suddenly he's all... you fast forward a couple of years of him winning a couple of WWE titles here and there, main eventing shows. A lot of shows did he main event. And suddenly he's carrying the entire SmackDown brand on his own.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty big jump for the guy. CM Punk, I think, he did win the title through his, but he won the heavyweight title during his cash-in. And that was during the time that WWE weren't too keen on him at that point. I seem to remember him getting in trouble about saying something about John Cena and then him dropping the belt to Undertaker in pretty convincing fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say Edge. I can't think of too many others. Maybe Del Rio. He won the belt and he did well for okay. I just think for the facts, and you look in terms of career, Edge was a main event star after he did that with the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I think for a lot of them, especially recently, it's like, oh, Orton's got the Money in the Bank, and
yeah, it's become less of a big deal now. It's not so much more of a shock, but
yeah.
We could be saying this in the future. Next year, we might have to re-answer this question and say, oh, actually, it was
Rollins.
Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Because now Rollins is the champ, and Rollins is main eventing all these shows.
But he's main eventing all these shows without cashing in.
Exactly. Imagine that with a big gold belt around his waist. That guy is money, okay? Let's just be honest, okay?
Money!
In terms of being a heel character...
Especially on his current losing streak.
Oh, yeah, you know what I mean. But in terms of his heel character, he's one of the best heels they've got. I'd hate to think in the whole perspective of heels without Seth Rollins. Looks pretty fucking bleak, let's just be honest. So.
Yeah.
In terms of actual match, I actually looked back and I did a lot of research. I can't say for sure exactly what is my favourite match. I know it's a pretty shitty answer. But
I think they've all been good. I think some have been better than others. And unfortunately, I think most of them have been whilst it was still at Mania.
Yeah. There's a lot of the Money in the Bank ladder matches have been pretty good, and I do expect the Intercontinental title match at WrestleMania to be good as well, bar all the crappy build-up. But there was one that involved Shelton Benjamin. I know he's in a few of the early ones, but there was like a few spots that he did in one of those matches.
Didn't he like leg it up a ladder? Didn't he?
Something
sort of leapt off the end or something.
But I mean, that guy was bumping fucking everywhere. Like he punched his bump card huge in those matches that he was involved in. So those ones I thought were great, and there was a lot of people there that really pulled them out. I think if you look at the most recent ones, and it kind of goes on the same sort of phase when they were doing the SmackDown Elimination Chamber and the Raw Elimination Chamber, the SmackDown briefcase, the Raw briefcase. 9 times out of 10, it was actually the SmackDown matches that were outperforming the Raw ones. So if you're going back and watching any of them, 9 times, every now and then you get the Raw ones that really steal the show, but that's all. I can't say one for sure.
But they only brought that in when it became its own pay-per-view.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's one thing I hated. It's just sort of like, it could be for anything. It's like, oh?
I will say for one thing though, going back to Money in the Bank 2011, which, as everyone knows, is famous for CM Punk against John Cena.
Yeah.
Those two ladder matches, extremely competent. Very, very enjoyable to watch. So that entire show actually is probably one of the best pay-per-views in the last 5 years they've done. It's not that far behind WrestleMania 30, which I think was probably the best pay-per-view they've done in a long time. So let's be honest with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my answer to that. Have you got a particular one that you like at all?
No, I can't think of any. I just really enjoy the match type because I think for a lot of people, there's been their sort of like, right, it's time to really get it done.
Yeah,
I quite liked the match that their most recent one, not for the belt but for the briefcase, which Rollins won, because I think the whole Rollins Ambrose story during the match was good.
Yeah, no,
and there was a lot of bumps, some ridiculous bumps.
Yeah, like he punched his bum card huge in that match. But one of the cool things about that match as well is that he won in a very heel fashion. He had Kane help him all the way through, which as a heel you should do. You should win like a heel, have people screw people out for you, and do everything that you can to win in that fashion. And I tell you what, he's done well with that belt since then. And
that belt.
No, sorry, that I think he will get. I think you get a belt with it.
It's like he's definitely going to be that one which is sort of like most people who cash it in win, and it's like there's no doubt.
Yeah.
Like if Rollins was to lose, then it'd be like a terrible like mistake on their part.
I think there's a big chance of Seth Rollins cashing in at WrestleMania. And I think a lot of it might go on the fly. It may be that, okay, they've got two plans. If Roman Reigns walks into that building and he's cheered to high heaven, he's walking out of that building with the title. If he goes in there...
Rollins is on hand.
Yeah, if not, and he gets booed to shit, and it's going to be like one of the most uncomfortable endings in WrestleMania history, Rollins, why don't you go out there, cash it in, because you know people are going to cheer, Yeah. And then he walks out of the belt with the belt.
And then if anything, that sort of really turns around... I kind of want to say it would turn Reigns quite babyface, because then it's like he's finally done it, and then suddenly just Rollins comes along and just shits all over it.
Yeah, but then you've got a future program to work with involving the belts, because Lesnar. Obviously, it all depends on what Lesnar wants to do. If Lesnar wants to stay, there's a good chance he just beats Reigns clean. There is still that chance.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see going forward. Daniel Massey asks if we can see NXT stars such as Baron Corbin, Tyler Breeze, or Bull Dempsey becoming big stars on the main roster. I know you said stars like, but I'm only going to label 3 that you asked, because otherwise it should end up being like a report card episode. It'll be 3 hours long. I was talking about NXT. Here's my assessment, and Matt, you can choose to agree or disagree. Baron Corbin, absolutely. Big star. Unless... he's basically perfect for what fans nowadays want. So fine. Baron Corbin, I think he will. Tyler Breeze, possibly. It all depends on how goofy Vince wants to make his gimmick once he gets to the main roster. They may want to take the whole Prince Pretty thing and just ignore the fact that he's a fucking astonishing wrestler.
Yeah.
That
but do you reckon he'd be like a new John Morrison?
Could be. Yeah, a better one, because he's got more charisma.
Well, yeah.
But
and talent.
I think in terms...
Oh, no, I shouldn't say that, because I have seen John Morrison wrestle recently as Johnny Mundo, and it's like...
Yeah.
Wow.
In-ring, I'd say, in terms of in-ring talent, I think Morrison's got it just by a little bit, right? But in terms of an overall package, Breeze, I'd take Breeze all day, because Breeze is a better promo, Breeze is a better personality, and one of the things that Morrison always lacked was personality. That was the one thing that he lacked all the way throughout his career. He was almost fucking cringeworthy on the microphone. I remember a promo between him and R-Truth that was just fucking wrong. It was,
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was uncomfortable. So Breeze, possibly. It just all depends on how Vince wants to take him. If he wants to make him into a legitimate competitor, who is obviously up himself, then he'll do well. If he wants to go along, the Prince Pretty thing, and people keep hitting him in the face, how funny is it? And the people are stealing his selfie stick. Look, it's all funny. It's such a joke. Then suddenly you've kind of got like a Bo Dallas on your hands, where he's going to be used for about a month, and then suddenly, guys, have we seen Bo Dallas recently? No.
Yeah. I saw him on NXT recently.
Yeah.
It was it was at NXT. That was the worst part. It wasn't even on NXT.
That's it, yeah. Now, the one person that you're saying in all this, Bull Dempsey, will he become a star on the main roster? Absolutely not.
No.
I think,
like, Bull Dempsey is just sort of like, ha.
yeah, Bull Dempsey to me is very lucky if he ever gets called up. To me, he screams of enhancement talent and not even on the main roster. Sorry. I know people might like Bull Dempsey, and to an aspect, I do like some of his... No, actually, I'm just going to stay outright. I just don't think he's got it. That's just the bottom line.
Especially even more so now, it's just like, oh, well, we got Owens. It's like, what do we need Bull Dempsey for?
It looks like Bull Dempsey is a poor man's, not even close to Kevin Owens, you know?
Yeah.
Bit of a chunky guy, tries to look intimidating, but to me he just doesn't. Yeah. In that whole program with him and Corbin, I never thought for one moment, oh, he looks more intimidating than Baron Corbin. And it's not even so much the way it was booked. I just don't think he looks that intimidating, personally.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it. But yeah, I think...
especially recently, it's like I've had Baron Corbin's music stuck in my head.
Yeah.
So it's like, I did tweet out about it. I was like, I was walking down, whilst I was away, just this whole part bit, and it's just sort of like, oh, it's just like all these spotlights. It's like Corbin's just like, oh no, it's in my head now.
Time to mark out, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, you look at that list. Corbin, he's definitely getting called up. Breeze, he's definitely getting called up. Dempsey, I just don't see it.
I don't think Corbin could come up as he is now, though.
No, you'll have to get repackaged and look better. I can't see it.
You can keep it. You can still bring him up as in his Sons of Anarchy get up. That would be fine.
Well, you mean Corbin? I'm talking about Dempsey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think Corbin is fine exactly the way he is. I really do.
I don't think he can come out as this big powerhouse hitter, though.
Yeah, I think he can. Personally, I think he's got the size. I think you put him in there, obviously not with a lot of guys like the Big Show. You put him in there with guys that are of medium build. He can tower over them, this imposing look. And yeah, he doesn't physically look as imposing as like Brock Lesnar, but I don't think you need him to be. Right? He is a brawler. He's a street fighter. He's an ass kicker. Yeah. Whereas you know people like Lesnar and stuff are just completely on a different level, and so they should be. But no, in terms of Dempsey, nah, absolutely not. They're gonna have to change huge parts about him, and even then, this is just me being honest and what I feel. I just don't think he's got it. You look on the rungs, you look on the ladder of all these NXT stars that you want to see up on the main roster. You look at your Owens, your Baylors, your Itamis, your Breezes, your Corbins, your Nevilles, your Zanes. And suddenly you're like, wait a minute, that's a pretty long list of all these guys that you want to put up onto the main roster, and Dempsey's not even close to them, right? No. So, no, to me, absolutely not.
I mean, hell, I'd want to see Enzo and Cass before
Absolutely.
Before I get to see Dempsey.
You know it's a bad day when I want to see, who I don't really like that much, the current NXT tag champions, Blake and Murphy, called up more than Dempsey.
Really?
I honestly don't feel... I'm not impressed by Dempsey at all. Personally.
But you'd want generic dubstep guys.
Yeah, I'd honestly take them over Dempsey. I really would. But, there you go. I'd take dubstep over that, so... Anyway, let's move on. Caleb Duckworth agrees with my assessment about the Intercontinental title picture, which is good. Glad to see I wasn't the only one scratching almost through my cranium last week, tearing out pieces of my hair as I rant about it. He asks, with smaller high-flying wrestlers coming through NXT, the likes of Zayn, Neville, and Itami, do we think there is a place for the Cruiserweight title to be brought back onto the main roster? No. And I will give 2 reasons why I firmly believe no. Not now, at least. I think, one... You list those names of Sami Zayn, Adrian Neville, and Itami. Obviously, they can get stuff done. They're great, high flyers. Neville more than the other two, right? But when you've got that label of like a cruiserweight around you, it's incredibly hard. You look at the history of guys that have been branded cruiserweights. There's only really one to me that goes beyond that and becomes a huge star, in terms of real big money, and that's Rey Mysterio, who won the world title, but he was a smaller guy. I think if you get branded as a cruiserweight, I think that negatively impacts the rest of your career, unless WWE are absolutely sure that they want bigger things from you. So when you've got let's say you bring these guys up and you bring up a brand new cruiserweight division, yeah, awesome, it's going to be great. But some of these guys are better than being labelled cruiserweight. Sami Zayn is phenomenal, right? He should be later on in his career, when once he gets onto the main roster and hopefully progresses and he gets pushed as good as his talents will allow him, he should be doing main events. He should be a contender for the. I firmly believe that Super 5 or 6 or whatever that they like to name in NXT, they should be in the future. All of those guys should be considered world title contenders.
Yeah, definitely.
And you can't do that
just on their ability alone.
Yeah, but you can't do that if all of them are first of all branded as cruiserweights.
Yeah.
That's the way around it. Second of all,
I think the one thing actually to label them cruiserweights would be kind of difficult for Neville. He wrestles like a cruiser, but he's a meathead.
He looks fucking stacked, doesn't he? He looks absolutely...
It's just like, you can't fly. Like, how the hell?
That's one of the most impressive things about Neville, right? In terms of build, he's bigger than Utami. He's bigger than Sami Zayn, right? Yeah. But he can do way more aerially than those two could dream. Right?
Yeah, that's it.
And they ain't bad aerially. It's just that Adrian Neville's on a completely different level.
Do you know what? He kind of just like... He's like a beefy RVD.
I think he's better than RVD.
No, I know, but
way better.
In the fact that he's got high fly, technical, and a bit of power to him.
Yeah. I just think that...
Oh, yeah, he can wrestle rings around RVD.
The way that I look at it is that, even though RVD's had this illustrious career, if you look at it at the moment, I think RVD is a poor man's Adrian Neville. That's the way I look at it. I do. I think Adrian Neville just does everything better than an RVD could even hope to do at the moment. Even in his prime. Wow, that's a big statement to make. I think Adrian Neville now could do everything better than RVD could do in his
everything
prime.
Better than the human highlight reel.
Absolutely.
Fair enough.
Now, it's a big statement to make, and obviously I am biased because he is our countryman. All right, so obviously we're going to be a little bit biased. But let's get back onto the thing. My second reason why I think that the cruiserweight title shouldn't be brought back is because WWE at the moment cannot book all of their titles correctly, and until they do so, you don't add to the pressure by having more belts on there. I think that they're making at least some headway at the moment into at least trying to make the IC and the US title mean more, and hopefully they can do more this year.
I think they've done better with the US than they have the IC.
I know, that's strange to think, isn't it, really? But
but
at least they're trying, they're at least giving some time, and they're not just throwing a random IC title match together. At least there is some sort of effort there, and hopefully at the end of this year they
are kind of throwing it together.
Yeah, I know. But hopefully at the end of this year, you and me can say, actually, US and IC titles looking a little bit better at the end of this year than it was, same time last year.
Thank you, WrestleMania.
Yeah, hopefully we can get to that point. But until then, and it does take a while to build up fans' trust back in those two belts, no extra belts at all. Doesn't even matter. If it's a hardcore belt, if it's the European belt, if it's the intergender tag belts, which I know some places have, doesn't matter anything. Doesn't matter what they are, no more belts until they can fix what they have at the moment. And when they get that fixed, and they've got it set, and everything's working, if you want to try and add something to that, I'm all for it. Give it a go, but not at the moment. But any other reason? Do you think maybe a Cruiserweight title should be brought in?
No.
What reasons, or is it?
I think it's because I don't think we need it. I think it's it'd be very similar to sort of like ripping on TNA and their X division, because that's all their X division belt is really.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you got Samoa Joe as the X division champion, which he was, kind of eliminates that sort of thought.
No, I know, but I've heard.
I know what you mean, though. It's
Joe's podcast, and pretty much the only reason he was there was just because you're solid and you're the vet.
Yeah.
It's that's a good enough reason, I suppose. But
even though that's a little bit obviously different, it's naturally the X division is known as like a cruiserweight belt, and some of the X division matches that they have are phenomenal, and I'm not going to stay against that. A lot of things we say about TNA are pretty negative. I don't have much negative to say about the quality of their matches when they're allowed to wrestle, because they've got good talent. But everything I said about TNA and their issues is about how management deals with them, and the fact that they're not promoted nearly as well as they should be. And there's so many just amateur mistakes done by Dixie Carter of all people, but that's the thing about that. But yeah, in terms of Cruiserweight, nah. There's too many problems on the show at the moment, and they need to address them and fix them. And
well, the thing is, there's a lot of people just sort of like to get a cute cruiserweight division. You'd want a strong cruiser. to get a cruiserweight belt, you'd want a strong cruiserweight division, and I don't think they have one at the moment.
They could have one, but I think it's then you're shoehorning all the possible main event talent in order to do that, and I don't.
Like, just think, like, if you had a cruiserweight on the current main event roster.
Oh, so not even adapting to NXT at the moment.
Not even accepting NXT. If they brought it in at Mania,
you could do a lot. Huh? Yeah, you could have kids. You could probably have like Los Matadores because they're both, whatever.
Yeah. The Usos wouldn't technically count. No, because they're above the weight restriction.
Yeah, you could say it's not many, really, is there now? To be honest.
And then you go like, Adam Rose. Oh, yay!
The Bunny is in the group.
Yeah, Adam Rose and maybe Xavier Woods and Kofi.
Because they're so positive. Oh, yay! No, we've got to talk about them later on. Let's save all the Blue Day until later on. So, but yeah, and I get with you. It's just it makes for sore reading. And one argument that could be said before we move on for this is maybe the cruiserweight division is a way to get this NXT talent in. But then that does stunt you in the sense of if you got a big guy like Colin Cassidy, and then you've got something like the cruiserweight is to shoot.
We're gonna bring the NXT guys through the cruiserweight division first, and he's 7 feet tall, and you can't teach that shit.
Yeah. I could just that would be quite odd, wouldn't it? But that's the funny part of that. Funny part about NXT, by the way, this week is that it was the first episode of NXT on the road, and it was a pretty good episode. Before we go into our fail of the week, that was all the questions. Thank you, and obviously, if you do want to ask us any questions in the future, leave it in the comment section or tweet us at TalkWrestlePod, and I will say that again at TalkWrestlePod because I can be like Michael Cole.
That's it. And if you don't know how, we could teach you how to download Twitter or something.
Yeah, we're going to put out a video shortly after this, which basically step by step how to follow us on Twitter. So first, you press the power button on your phone. No, I'm not going to go to. I could make it like a really half an hour thing of just now wait for your screen to boot up. That's just awful. Our match of the week this week. And we're only bringing this up slowly, a little bit here and there. We don't often say match of the week because often most of the stuff we watch, we can't really label as match of the week, really. However, we did get one this week that really stood out from the rest, and it is in Lucha Underground.
Yes.
You may be thinking, that's weird. You don't cover Lucha Underground. Well, every now and then they put up a link to their main event up on their YouTube channel, so you can go to that link and actually watch it. I'm sure people can find it. And
apparently Lucha Underground is quite difficult to find.
Yeah, we can't get it over here. It's on the El Rey network over in the States, and obviously we don't have anything like that over here, so it's very hard for us to find. But I caught this match, and it is every example of what a casket match should be. It was against Phoenix, and I can't even remember the other guy's name now.
Malmueno.
Oh yeah, something like that. Yeah. I think you got it, guys. But yeah, it is basically it's a casket match.
They booked it as what was it? The man of 1,000 deaths versus the man of 1,000 lives.
Yeah, it was good. It was a bloody carnage of brutality, and I thought the way that they integrated, the female, concierge, the female manager that was with them, getting involved in the match, and I just love the fact that over there it's considered if like your female manager gets clotheslined by this big monstrous dude, everyone expects that woman because you got hard women in Lucha Underground. They just get up a minute later on. It's not like a referee they're knocked out for 10 minutes. She gets up and she's pissed off, so she organises the way that the guy manages to win. It's awesome. I think it's great the way that it is.
Oh, this is the one thing I loved, especially considering it was Lucha. And it's Phoenix, within the first 3-4 minutes, had his mask ripped.
Yeah.
For pretty much all of that match, you can see his face.
It's just
and the blood.
If you can see it past the fucking mountains of blood, yeah. It was. I hate to say it because it makes us seem really fucking barbaric and violent. It was refreshing.
Bloodthirst.
It was refreshing to see blood. I have to say, it made the match feel just twice as barbaric.
It makes it personal. I don't think this is the barbarism of it all. I think getting a little bit of colour in a match tells that a little bit more of the story, that it's a feud.
It's not so much a wrestling match anymore, it's a fucking war, and this felt like a war.
Well, the fact that they're having a casket match, but because it's Lucha and Mexican and things like that, it's was it Grave Consequences? And they bring it out like the whole Day of the Dead.
Yes,
And it's just like, it just all looked so well presented.
like very voodoo inspired, you know. With
Yeah.
the aesthetic is fucking great, and the ending of it as well is very thematic. I loved everything about this match, and it's like, I think it's like a 20-minute long video, and every single time I watch Lucha Underground, I'm like banging my head against the fucking table. I'm like, just guys, syndicate it over here so I can watch this shit and review it every week. I tell you, if I had access to New Japan and Lucha Underground on a weekly basis, we wouldn't be reviewing Raw each week. We would be reviewing NXT, Lucha, and New Japan
New Japan,
each
yeah.
week. That would be my choice, but you know, it's the.
I mean, the one thing I just like, loads of people just like, it looks cheap and things like that. It's like, I love the Lucha Underground dojo.
I love the
At
aesthetic.
the temple.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
And they
even
can't say it looks cheap. Half their production values look better than WWE sometimes.
it's the fact even like their mat, it looks like it's just one big sheet of wood that they're wrestling on. Like you can see it's all canvas and things like that, but it's just like it just looks so good.
I think part of the reason why Lucha Underground looks great and the way that it goes is that they don't pretend to be anything else that they aren't, right? When in the middle of this match, they're literally going out into the production thing. They're not stating, they've gone back into this massive thing. They're like, they've gone back. You can see, like, this is done in like in a very small space, and like they make it seem and look like it's like not so much dank, but it's like it's underground. It's Lucha Underground. It feels like an underground club of wrestling. And
it definitely does look like sort of 5 minutes after that match, the police turned up and raided it.
Yeah, exactly. But that's Raw, and it feels great. And oh man, I caught this in the middle of. I literally watched it only today, and I was watching it, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is fun. This is really fun.
In fact, you posted it to me over Facebook. Yeah. It's like, you need to watch this.
Oh, goodness me. I'm going to be trying my best to catch more Lucha Underground as time goes on. And to supplement my weekly Raw watching, especially on weeks where it does get a touch insufferable. You can watch some good quality wrestling, and in this case, you can watch a fucking fight. And it felt like a legitimate fight between these two. Yeah. Brilliant stuff. So that's our match of the week. Go watch it if you can. Like I said, you can probably find the link. It's not hard. It's not on their YouTube channel, so you may go on the YouTube channel. It is on the YouTube channel, but one of the things you can do is you can put things as unlisted, so people can't view it straight from your YouTube channel, but they have to get a link to view it. I think it's their way of trying to stop people that aren't supposed to see it, like people outside the country, from seeing it, but obviously it's the internet. I think they know that. They want people to be viewing it, and for the word to go around. So there you are. Fail of the week. Here we go. So yeah, last week we covered, the infamous overselling. And I hope people went out and watched it because it's so funny. This week is something a little bit more serious, and something that did involve Triple H. It also involves Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Triple H. We are talking about the curtain call incident. Now, if you don't know what that is, I don't blame you, because it was something that happened a while ago. But essentially what it was is that it was a moment where, in the beginning of the war between WWE and WCW for ratings, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, as we all know, we already covered this before, but WWE tried to do their fake personas and all that stuff, as you remember. They were WCW bound, right? So they were finishing up their contracts and they're going over to WCW. People knew this at this point, so they just finished up the last couple of matches. They had a match at Madison Square Garden against Triple H and Shawn Michaels, and as we all know, those guys, big friends,
traveled the road.
That's it, yeah, they all travelled together, they've had plenty of matches together, big, they click for a reason. They basically, what they do, and this doesn't seem like a big thing now, but it was a big thing back then, is that after the match, they broke kayfabe, and they all hugged together in the middle of the ring, and it was then to signify, you're going off, we'll miss you. But they did it in a very public display. Now, you may be thinking nowadays wouldn't be that much of an issue. And granted, nowadays it wouldn't be that much of an issue to do. However, this was back where, at very least, some respect for kayfabe still was around. And doing that sort of stuff is basically admitting that wrestling is storyline based.
Yeah.
Apparently, according to for all the sources that I found on this, the guys went out to the back. They weren't berated as soon as they got in because people were too furious. The management were too furious at them to even speak at them at the moment that they got back and through the ropes.
Yeah.
So this was like a huge thing that was done. Now, one of the big fallouts from this is that obviously Nash and Hall were leaving, so you couldn't exactly
punish them.
You know, you can't punish them when they're in a different company. Shawn was the world champion. You could punish him, but that technically is basically trying to punish your world champion who's the face of your brand. Not going to go down too well, especially when you're trying to keep these guys from jumping ship. You know, that's the bottom line. So who do they punish? Well, you may be surprised.
The newcomer.
Yeah, who is Triple H.
Yeah.
Triple H essentially, in all intensive purposes, lost an entire year off of his career because he basically got booted right down to the bottom of the totem pole.
Yeah.
And told, well, you're the ones getting all the shit for this.
Like, lined up for King of the Ring and everything.
He was lined up for King of the Ring. He was lined up to go on to have a program with Shawn for the belt. And maybe possibly even win the belt, you know. It's all what ifs from that point. But it was definitely going to be put in a main event situation. After the curtain call incident, nope. You're not getting anywhere close to the main event. And as, you know, time turns out, is that, you know, he obviously, as we know now, things turned out pretty well for the guy. The year afterwards, he would go on. It's almost like he did, that's what I say, he lost a year of his career because the year afterwards, then he did win the King of the Ring.
The fact that he had to start, the fact that he had to basically start from the bottom and grind his way back again.
So 12 months of
arse kicking and dues.
Yeah, innit? Just paying your dues over that situation. You know, I don't obviously I feel for the guy because it must have been quite tough, but that's the price you pay for at that time playing around and mucking around with kayfabe, because it was a big thing. Like, you may think, oh, okay, that'll be fine. You know, that doesn't sound that bad, and I think the reason why to some people it doesn't sound that bad is because if that was done 20 years prior to that, these guys wouldn't have been in the company. They would have been fired.
Yeah.
One of the main reasons, we look at one of the earliest moments where kayfabe was broken was when the Iron Sheik and Jim Duggan were caught, you know, smoking some stuff they probably shouldn't have been doing and drunk driving down. They got stopped by the police, their mugshots got released, and then everyone knew, wait a minute, these two are travelling together? They're supposed to be hating each other. One's going for America and one of them's a foreign power.
That's it.
Wait a minute, that ain't right. What the fuck's going on there? And subsequently, you know what happened to them. They were ditched, as you would expect. You know.
Yep.
So you know, if you're looking at it back then, you know, things were a little bit, you know, maybe he got off lightly. Some people might say he got punished hard, because he was the only person that got punished. Either or, they should have known at that point. Doing that, got themselves into a bit of duty, shall we say? That they had some balls to do it, shall we say? You know, would he go back and change it? I think that's probably one of the things he would change. Looking back at it now,
that's it.
You know, he pissed off a lot of people involved in that. So, but you know, looking back at it, like I said, now if it happens, it's nowhere near as big of a deal because you know, Triple H said it himself. Kayfabe's dead.
Yeah,
it is dead. Really, to be honest, it's the way WWE treat it as well.
Unfortunately.
So, curtain call incident. There you go, a little bit of a history lesson there for you, and I'm sure you can find pictures of them doing it. One of the ways that you can find some of the best stuff about it is on, I hate to plug it again, but the WWE Network, Triple H's documentary,
Thy Kingdom Come, yeah.
It talks about it in great length there. 2-hour documentary, and you know, there's a large part of it there. A funny thing watching that documentary is that people may not know this about me, but I'm a bit of a romantic guy at heart. You know, I love hearing a good love story, you know, people getting happy and everything along those lines. And Jesus Christ, even I was a little bit like, come on, stop airing stuff about him getting together with Stephanie. And it was like half an hour of it. Like, fucking hell, okay, we get it, they're happily married.
What I love the most about that one is just like, 'cause they were like, it showed Nash.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, there's this guy, he doesn't drink. He's like, great, designated driver. Yeah. It's like, oh, fucking gold.
Yeah, that's it. But, yeah. That's part of the, I went back on the network review, and we said that one of the best things that you should buy the network for is the Beyond the Ring documentaries. I stand by that because I go back and watch stuff each day. I'm actually going through their back catalogue of great documentaries.
I'll tell you what, I'm really looking forward to the Jericho one. The Road is Jericho. I've watched the little
build
They're
up.
like half-hour teaser of it.
Yeah, they did one for like the Shield as well, didn't they?
Yeah, I watched that as well, and I was like, "Oh, just get on the network already!"
You have to wait for it to go out of DVD circulation first, and then
I
it'll go
know.
out there. So that leads us into our Raw review. No, obviously, I love the fact that before you get to the Raw review now on our show, it's like an hour's already passed.
Yeah.
I have so much to talk about. Let's get into our Raw review this week. We are a mere, well now, as of you guys hearing it, we're 1 week away from WrestleMania, but 2 Raws away. This is the penultimate Raw leading up to WrestleMania. And obviously the build-up is continuing. Last week we slammed the show. I called it an abomination. A lot of really bad stuff. I did think that the last 2 hours were better. The first hour was fucking a train wreck, and I will stand by that. So to be honest, with this show, the only thing I was asking for was a better first hour, and if I got that, I'd be happy at very least. It did take place at Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah.
So. The Authority are yet again for the second week in a row start off the show already in the ring, breaking records as they like to do in terms of opening the show. So after the colossal beating that Rollins took last week from the hands of the Viper, Randy Orton, he shows absolutely no bandages. He's not holding any part of his body. There's no bruises, no bumps.
It's just so like meh.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yeah, he looks like...
He beat the hell out... Nah, it's fine.
Like, to me, you getting chased around the arena, beaten up with chairs, driven through tables, being smashed and beaten up towards high heaven... Come on, guys. I know they don't do it much anymore.
Like a DDT to the outside and things like that. Off the barrett.
At very least... At very least, show him with some bandages. I mean, you can still wrestle with bandages. You just show that there was damage done. Maybe tape up his stomach or something along those lines. Just something. There was nothing. If you had watched this week, you would not have known that he took a savage beating last week. And I think there's something a little bit wrong with that. And I hated the fact that Ambrose was still hopping and skipping after the Hell in a Cell match that they had. It still bothers me. And this bothers me as well, if I'm honest. Rollins calls Orton's act last week a betrayal, and he blasts his hometown, which obviously he's in, by saying that betrayal is only for successful people, and being screwed over is essentially what happens to the masses.
To the little people, yeah.
That is incredibly nonsensical. That makes no sense to me.
I kind of understood it.
I think it's stupid. I really do. So you can only be betrayed if you have only a certain amount of digits in your bank account. No, you get betrayed. I just think it's really stupid, personally.
To be fair, it was just like, but at least I'm not still here in Iowa. I got out of here. I'm now someone. That's all the purpose was for.
Yeah, I know what he was trying to get at. I just think it was a stupid line. That's personally what I'm saying. But he says
overthinking it.
We overthink everything on this show. It's what we're here for. He says betraying the Shield was nothing like Orton betraying him. That it was just a business decision. I can understand what he says there. He passes the mic over to the Big Show, which I would state wasn't a particularly good.
The moment he touched that mic.
Yeah, that's it. Of all the talks of great business decisions, that passing the mic over to Big Show at that moment just wasn't one of them. So he says Rollins is the best talent in WWE, and I will state that we have said that before. He's the best rising talent. He was our superstar of the year for a reason. So there you go. That's
it. Even if WWE don't agree.
That's it. And he's apparently Big Show is heartbroken. He says over the situation. He himself and Kane apologizes for Orton sucking them in and making them believe, even though last week they constantly kept warning Rollins that he was trying to do something, but obviously we'll just forget that. Noble calls himself the secret weapon of the Authority. And guys, before you start, you may be getting ready. Oh, what joke have they got about this? It must be classic. I actually don't know where to begin with jokes on that very statement. So I can't even begin on the stuff about that. So there we are. He says that, and obviously, apparently Joey Mercury is the most hurt. He's devastated by the whole situation.
He can't even talk.
He's unable to speak. He's like Billy Gunn. unable to speak, apparently. He can
Or
speak.
just don't let him.
That's it. Rollins accepts Orton's challenge for a WrestleMania match as long as Orton agrees to wrestle him tonight on that show.
That's it.
And that's the moment I knew there wasn't a match happening on that match.
That's it. It was just sort of like, I'll wrestle you at Mania if we have a match here. Why? What's the point?
Yeah, exactly. I think it was really funny that I think it was back in the middle of last year. They booked up a Reigns versus Rollins match, remember, at a pay-per-view. But they did it on Raw the Raw the week before, and it was like a conclusive ending. The match was clean and it finished.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was only because Reigns got injured that they didn't have another match. It was like, but why did you... What? Why would you do this? So obviously, any wrestling fan knows that, let's have a match at WrestleMania, but we'll have another one tonight. We know it was going to be... There wasn't going to be any sort of semblance of a match happening. This brings out Orton, who obviously was no doubt itching to get into the ring. Obviously, so many references to his name, you know. Orton accepts the match request, and he said that he'll end the future of the WWE at WrestleMania. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of what he says, apart from a few
done.
So there and there. A 10-minute plus segment. I wasn't particularly enthusiastic about the opening segment this week. And as I said, the hook that Vince, as we say, loves to have in the opening of the show was to a match that any fan knew was just going to be...
nothing.
Going to be nothing. Not that it would be entertaining, I'm not saying that, but fans would know that there isn't actually going to be a match happening.
That's it.
You know, we know this by now. But
I'll just wait for Mania.
Yeah, I wasn't particularly enthusiastic about this opening segment, but listen, the fact is we're now away from the times of having 25-minute opening segments with the Authority, having ad breaks in the middle of their opening promos. So it can, and obviously we reviewed worse, so I'll take this, it's okay. AJ Lee versus Nikki Bella. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to Bizarro World. In Bizarro World, we have Divas matches that are good and last longer than 10 minutes.
That are long enough to deserve an ad break.
Would you like to live in Bizarro World with us? Come into Bizarro World. We'll meet you in Bizarro World. Bizarro World, we have tons of great matches. Yes, apparently for some reason I've been playing Bioshock Infinite, which is all about tearing rifts in space and time. We've now entered the time where for some reason they decide, okay, let's give them a little bit of time. And people may point to the fact, it's the whole give Divas a chance thing. Yeah, maybe. I always said that, for the few weeks after that whole thing, WWE may try and make a point of, we're behind our women and give them longer matches. I just don't think it will last. In a couple of months, we'll be back to what we had, but...
That's it.
But still, I'm going to take this match. I'm not going to get cynical. I'm going to take this match because it was good, and it had great, decent wrestling, and like I said, it was lengthy.
Do you know the one thing I've noticed, though?
Go on.
I don't think Nikki's got the conditioning for a long match.
She burn out a little bit towards the end, but as you would expect if they don't...
Yeah, especially as a diva, it's just like, as a WWE diva, it's like, you get 5 minutes. Tops.
Yeah.
You're gonna go for 10.
They must have had a fucking heart attack as soon as you've got 10 minutes. Go on.
That's
what you can do.
You're both gonna need to be on the opposite sides of the ring, outside. Why? Because you got an ad break. A what?
An ad break? What is that? Yeah, it just seems so odd for them to be doing that. Booker T, by the way, commentary was still pretty bad this week. He drops a line which I shook my head, and obviously the rest of his announcers obviously were trying to paste over the idiocy of what he said. It says that Booker T was basically alluding to the fact that women in general just hate each other.
Yeah.
And as soon as he said that, you can tell that Michael Cole was like, Booker, what the fuck are you saying? Like, sort of thing. He was like, no. And then,
shut up, Booker.
Yeah, and Booker was trying to, kind of wind it back.
Oh no, Charmel told me so. Like,
yeah.
Right.
Very stupid statement. Apparently, according to in Booker T's world, every woman just hates every other woman. So
that's it.
Yeah.
The other one that I loved is the fact that he was just like, do you want me to read you the tweet that Charmel has just sent me? What? Within not even 2 minutes of you claiming that your wife said this, she's already tweeting you.
Yeah. Oh,
pretty much guarantee what it was, and it would probably be a direct text message of "you dickhead."
yeah, essentially, yeah, along those lines. I'd hate to be Charmel going to our next book meeting. Oh, apparently we all hate you. Apparently you all hate us, do we?
Yeah,
Although the idea of Charmel going to a book meeting, see that's funny right there. Okay, we need to get some cameras in.
all
See that.
queened up and everything.
Queen, yeah, exactly, with the tiara and all the
Yes.
King Booker.
Ah,
Oh, good.
the pinky
Um,
out.
yeah, basically, one of my notes here is that it's shit commentary, but in the first hour of last week's show, the commentary for this week is still better. still, I would take this week's commentary over last week's. Jesus Christ. Not even a word of potatoes this week. It's an improvement, guys. We're getting there. Okay. Nikki Bella wins via the rack attack, as I believe the champion should do, leading into WrestleMania, and obviously any champion should be winning matches. And some people might be, oh, but AJ's just returned. Well, Nikki Bella is the champion. You want to build your champions up to win matches. You only don't think that because Wade Barrett can't win a fucking match to save his life. So, yeah, Wade Barrett should probably look at this match and say, oh, that's what champions do. They win matches. Oh, guys, sorry, I've been leaning on Wade Barrett again. I just pinned him. Oh, 3 weeks in a row. God damn it. Oh, guys, check around.
Especially with the worst part is like, what's this thing I'm sat on? Oh, it's white, it's gold. Oh, it's the icy bell.
Oh, man, you scamp. You scamp. You've been stealing it, haven't you? Oh, Matt Trizzle. Yeah, oh, fucking no. I forgot that we've got more stuff to talk about.
Don't you start going down that slippery path.
Oh, believe me. But yeah, honestly, good stuff from Divas Week. Thumbs up from us. Jesus. If you want to do 10-minute Divas matches each week, we'll hop aboard that train. Come with us to Bizarro World. We would love for Bizarro World to enter WWE and just give us 10-minute Divas matches each week. With good Divas. I don't want to see a 10-minute Divas match with Cameron and Eva Marie.
I was just thinking the Cameron and Eva Marie match. No, thank you.
Would I like to see a 10-minute match on Raw between AJ and Paige? Yeah, definitely. Would I want to see one against Brie Bella and AJ Lee? Yeah, sure, let's do that. If you want to see a match, a 10-minute match between Nikki Bella and Natalya, yeah, I'd be game for that to see what they can do. Put the wrestlers in there, that you think could do a job for you. Don't.
So it's basically the 4 at Mania plus what? Natalya and Naomi.
Yeah, I tell you what, even try and throw Summer Rae in there because she can wrestle given the chance.
Summer Rae can go. Yeah.
I think that if
Emma can go, but they've ruined her.
Yeah, they've ruined her now. She's back at NXT now anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then lost. That's the one thing I hated.
Yeah. She can't win a match.
Back at NXT, losing.
Yeah. To Carmella of all people, shall we say? So anyway, but yeah, honestly, good stuff. Good stuff to open up the show. Backstage, Renee Young interviews Kane and Big Show. I like to call them the charisma couple, as in they need some. Kane states that he's decided Big Show will be in Rollins' corner tonight, and this leads to an argument in which both of them are all pissed off at each other. Rollins comes in and he's pissed off as well. He calls them both stupid, which is obviously a great way to get them on your side. Kane replies that he enjoyed Orton's attack last week and that he won't be in Rollins' side for the main event tonight, and then he invites Big Show to do the same. It's quite a big, stark change from what they're saying before, but at very least there was some sort of direction in what they were going for here, even though it was obvious. Yeah. At least it had some sort of direction. So
stop being a dick.
No, yeah.
Essentially, you're being a dick, especially when Kane's just like, I'm the reason you hold that briefcase. Yeah.
Well, it's not just that.
Forget this.
It was all the big ruse, wasn't it? So it was all. At least it was a plan they had built all the way throughout the show. And maybe they did fool a few people with it. Maybe, part of me was thinking, oh, they're going to do an angle, maybe where they just abandon him and let him go off. But then I was thinking, no, come on, everyone's abandoning him. It's going to come out. To be fair, and I knew there wasn't going to be a match later on, so you know what I mean.
What's that other worst part of me watching, like the day we record, which is also, 5 days after it's been aired.
Yeah.
I know what. This whole thing's ruined on me.
Yeah. I mean, fuck it. In terms of spoilers, I wake up the day after Raw, and very early. I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, almost 6-7 o'clock, and I might I might turn the laptop on. This is literally a couple of hours. I mean, Raw over here finishes at 4 o'clock in the morning, so I get up at 7. It's only 3 hours old. I go on Facebook. This is what happened on and this is WWE, by the way, putting it up all over there. This is what happened on Raw. You have to. I'm like, oh, come on, guys, just let me watch it normally. Come on, but still, whatever. Wouldn't be the first time that they've spoiled something for me and all those like that.
That's it.
Ryback versus The Miz, a match that happened on SmackDown, so of course we'll get a rematch on Raw. Mizdow is still with The Miz. I thought, obviously, that Wiz Khalifa gig that he had didn't last that long, obviously. He was right back to being with The Miz for the week after. During the match, it wasn't a very long match, but Ryback basically he's got Miz kind of dead to rights, and he tells Mizdow, go on, hit him, I'm holding him for you, hit him. It looks like Mizdow's going to go for it, but then he doesn't, and obviously we know that moment he's going to smack him across the face and hopefully smack the taste in his mouth over to next Wednesday. We'll be at WrestleMania, hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, obviously it will be that time, I'm just going to say it. And it will be awesome. It will be awesome. The moment that Sandow hits him, we've said it all along, it's going to be fun, and that's what WrestleMania should be.
We look forward to it.
Yeah. Now in the match itself, as I said, Ryback does get the win in the end via shell shock, and it was a bit of a meh match. It was done essentially just to get that little storyline part
of why don't you punch him?
Yeah.
Oh no, Miz is angry because it clearly looked like sort of Sandow thought about it. Don't you dare punch me! No, I'll fire you.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh.
Essentially all that whole stuff. Except for here, he actually does skull crushing finale him, and
yeah, dick.
Dick, yeah. Which, in all fairness, that's what he's going for. Good stuff. But yes, one of the moments I'm not excited for that much in WrestleMania. There's a few things I'm excited for. One of them is Mizdow finally smacking Miz upside the head. So hopefully, gangster style. Take that, backhand him. Hopefully,
Well, I can't actually remember from last year. Is it? Do they treat it like it's like a Royal Rumble, or is it all men in the ring to begin with?
all men in the ring to begin with.
Yeah, like a
But the last two people in there is going to be Miz and Mizdow, and the Mizdow is going to be the one that actually throws him over or something along those lines. But I don't think it will be like a cheeky throw over. I think it will be him legitimately fighting him first, and that will be a great pop for him to get the first hit.
Yeah.
But yeah. They could go along the lines of where, like, Miz wins because Mizdow, he does snap and he does attack him, but just loses, clean. I think that'd be a stupid idea. Just give Mizdow the win; it'll be fine. U.S. title contract signing segment.
Where is Lana?
Yeah, no Lana. Apparently she's off.
Filming something with Edge or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, movie along those lines. So. Fair enough. That's hence why they did the last week's, thing to kind of write her off the argument between him and Lana.
Yeah.
But Cena comes out first anyway. He says that the contract is the most important one he's ever signed in his whole life.
Maybe his job contract. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, maybe the contract he made
important.
Nikki Bella sign, so she wouldn't,
So he can kick her out in 2 days' notice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We've watched Total Divas. We know what we're talking about. Yeah.
I still get disgusted with myself when I admit that.
I bring that stuff up. Yeah. The funny thing is when he says stuff like this, it's the most important one I've ever signed. It just reminds me of the common things that WWE does with John Cena. Oh, is he going to unleash a new John Cena at WrestleMania? The new John Cena. He's going to unleash the beast inside. It's like, well, how many times has he done that? A lot of them, apparently.
Do you know what? I saw a great thing with Cena. It's like a proper break the breaking the fourth wall sort of thing. It's just like, it goes back to the whole turning heel thing, and it's just like, why? Because you're like, do you want me to go heel so you can boo me? But you already boo me. Huh?
Yeah.
I'm just like, ugh.
I think, I know, I get what you're saying. Listen, we already covered this and said it categorically, explained. Cena is never ever going properly heel. He's never going to spit in children's faces and, all that sort of stuff.
Oh, that's it.
But, the fact is that it's kind of in a no-win situation for him. Let's say he does go heel, people are going to start cheering him.
That's it. And then he'll be booed by the kids.
Exactly. So really, he's basically trading one for the other. So, Now, there was a way that maybe he could get people to boo him, because maybe he might become one of those characters if he would. So I hate talking about if he goes heel, it's never happening. So kind of it's a moot point. It's not even really worth talking about. So.
Back to the contract signing.
Yeah. Let's go back to that. Cena says by Rusev being the United States champion, he represents all Americans, and he's disgusted by that fact. And it's. You know what they're going for here. It's the regular patriotic angle that they've done pretty much with Rusev going through. But I will say that Cena does it better than the people that have done it before him in going against Rusev. So he does it better than Swagger, even though I thought the Swagger was pretty good. But we
does it better than Henry, far better than Henry.
Yeah, far better than Big Show. So if he wants to do that role, he can do it better than them. And I'm looking past the whole point of we just don't want Rusev really to lose because it just kind of goes against everything. You look at the last two. You look at the last two WrestleManias, as we said. If he beats Rusev, that's two of their rising stars back to back. He's beat at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
that shouldn't be happening. And it's not so much you think Cena should be losing every match? No, I don't think these guys should be booked against John Cena. I never said that I wanted Bray Wyatt to go against John Cena at WrestleMania, and I never said I wanted Rusev to go against Cena at WrestleMania. I just don't want Rusev anywhere near. Cena anywhere near new talent. I don't want it anywhere near them. There's a reason why he's nicknamed the push-seeking missile, because it's like basically Vince McMahon smells raw talent and says, you know what, let's build you up because I want to feed you to him. And it's, no, don't fucking do that.
John, yes, kill it.
Yeah, here's a new push for you. Go on, put on your bib. Here's a knife and fork. Go eat. But yeah. We've already talked about it before. After that, Rusev comes out, as we said, without Lana, but he's flanked with what I would state a much less attractive individual. And I have to say, we'll take a while to break the habit of looking at Rusev's manager's ass. I will say this guy's ass doesn't really fit the bill. Kind of lacks a lot of stuff in the frontal area as well.
That's it.
So let's face it. And one of the things he's also lacking, apparently, is a Russian accent. Because I don't know what the fuck that accent was.
It's just terrible. We know Lana's not Russian, she's American, but at least she does a half-decent job.
Yeah.
This guy was just terrible.
It wasn't Russian. I have no idea what the fuck it was.
I don't know if you yourself, for guys that listen, there's a guy on YouTube for FPS Russia, he does weapon reviews. It's just and as always, have a nice day. And it's you're not Russian. It's just it sounded just like that. I was just oh no.
It was horrible. It was really bad.
My client, Mr. Rusev.
He sounded like Borat. Yeah. Mr. Rusev, clean my butthole. Just like
what are you doing, Mr. John Cena?
Yeah, it was. It was bad, right? And this guy, and you know what, right? Here's one thing. There's one thing. Me and Matt, laughing about his accent. Tell you people who shouldn't be laughing about his accent, the commentary team, which is exactly what they were doing. And I would explain why.
Ripping into him.
Ripping into him, and the problem is with them doing that is that first of all they were talking over the promo. That's a big no-no. They should not be doing that, right? Because then you're being as distracting as apparently the guys at the front row were with their garish uniforms looking like wrestlers. They were being extremely distracting, and even though what they were distracting against was pretty bad, let's face it wasn't great. It's still a big no-no, and the fact is that if by them doing that, they're essentially admitting to the audience that what we're seeing on our screen isn't worth watching. And if they don't think it's worth watching, how the fuck are their fans supposed to think it's worth watching?
Yeah.
It's like back in the days where Michael Cole would rip into the early NXT and just say, why are we here? Why is anyone watching the show? Okay, fair enough. I'll fucking turn off then.
It's if that's it, then meh, bye.
You know what I mean? I found that very stupid. Yeah. In the actual segment anyway, the attorney essentially goes along the lines of, Lana didn't have any power in terms of giving you that match. Rusev was the only person that allowed you to have that match, and he obviously didn't.
C for 1, 60-bit A.
Yeah. Oh dear. And somehow he was still made more sense than R-Truth does on commentary. I don't know how. So Rusev takes the mic then for his statement, stating essentially that he'll give you the match at WrestleMania if he can just say out his statement, and he says that so the fact that Cena wants another chance at the belt is a sign of weakness, and no, actually it's not. It's a sign of him being pushed. You should get used to it.
That's it.
You know, Cena. He blasts America and says America will die. And then he signs the contract. Why he did, I have no fucking clue. And flips the table and leaves. And here's my thought on it there. No reason why Rusev would sign it, considering he was so pissed off at Cena getting the match last week. He could easily have said, well, actually, no. My stupidly accent, my lawyer doesn't understand if he's fucking from here or here. He wants to merge two accents together and make some weird conglomeration. What he says is legitimately correct. It was told Lana has no influence on what Rusev wants to do. If Rusev doesn't want the match, he's the talent. He can say no. The whole point of a contract signing is that he can choose not to sign.
That's it. Okay.
And everything that Rusev has said beforehand, he doesn't want a match with Cena. So it's a little bit weird, obviously, that he just suddenly just signs it randomly and throws it back in. So.
No, it's like the one thing I quite liked is like, is Cena going to do it? Is he going to break? No. Oh.
Now, here we go. So we do have the match. We knew it was happening. I will state, first of all, there should never have been the first match between Cena and Rusev at Fastlane. The very fact that at WrestleMania it's a rematch, that seems wrong to me, personally. And, the fact is now that joins the... what's the other match? There's another match later on that's going to be like a... obviously, if the Rollins and Orton match happened on this show, which obviously it wouldn't be, that would be a good rematch at WrestleMania as well. So now I just don't like the idea of having a rematch at WrestleMania, but that's just there we go. And as I said before, in terms of that match, we're going to talk more about the predictions. Man, I really sincerely hope Cena loses this match, because then I can't sit here at the Raw on the Let's Talk More Wrestling and say to everyone, well, you know what, guys, I was wrong. Maybe they are pushing new talent. Cena's willing to go to be pinned, and Vince is willing to use Cena's name to enhance other talent. And then I can't go on this show and go, if Cena does win, and go, look, I fucking told you. They're just feeding new guys to him. And I don't want to start that rant, because that would be very frustrating to me. I think that Cena doesn't need to win. He didn't need to beat Wyatt. Yeah, his legacy is solidified. He doesn't need to beat Rusev. Yeah, if he loses against Rusev, people still take him as a main event guy. People like Wyatt and Rusev need legitimate victories over big guys to become big guys. And if they can't get them, then what hope do they have? But there we go.
Yeah, sort of struggles a bit.
New Day against Kid and Cesaro. We see, basically another. This is essentially a rematch from last week, just with a different combination of Blue Day. But
Blue Day.
Blue Day. See, I don't mind you doing Blue Day. Blue Day's okay. You can do that.
Oh, okay.
So that's fine. This is when you start doing New Day, just because it annoys me. I shouldn't have said that now.
It's fun. The one thing I hate is just I kind of loved it as well, but it was the little down in the corner promo that we had with Kid and Cesaro. And I thought that was good.
Or where they're clapping in unison and stuff like that. Yeah, it was okay. It was
yeah.
For a lot of the ones
we can even clap better than you.
Yeah, fact. Yeah. How much time did you think it took to them to get that imperfectly in sync? Because they literally did that.
Yeah.
Still. So apparently, literally just before this match really happens, Los Matadores comes out to watch the match at ringside. I think we've made our opinions pretty much known about all those teams. I'm not going to repeat ourselves. But I will pose this question to you. Coming up to WrestleMania time, where are the primetime players? Where are the Ascension?
Yeah, they're not even involved in it at all.
So much for pushing this huge team. Groundbreaking team that's going to run roughshod over the tag team division. I think that pretty much shows you exactly how much they they feel about both those teams. Really.
Nope.
The last we saw of the Ascension, they were beaten by the primetime players, and I have to remind you that the primetime players consist of what? This is how WWE booked them. I like primetime players, but this is how WWE booked them: a guy who's jobbed out for a year, and another guy who hasn't even wrestled for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Still, so much for the Ascension's meteoric rise. The match is over pretty much as soon as the match starts. It's very, very mediocre. Afterwards, Los Matadores start scrapping with the New Day, and it leads to El Torito clearing Cesaro out of the ring. I would state WWE are getting very close to getting on that line where I start getting really annoyed with El Torito again.
Again?
I let them get away with
Again?
my Fairy Fury. Do you not remember all that crap? And then me going mental about...
I know.
Yeah. Let's not go back to those days. But I'll let them leave it this week. Okay, they did it 1 week. If they make a habit of El Torito suddenly beating top, the talent or the champions and making fools of them, then I may start having an issue with this. But, okay. Alright, I'll let it go this week. But, for what it's concerned... There are a few matches here which I think have been thrown together. Obviously, the tag team match has. But I do think that there's a lot of those matches that have been kind of just pushed in and don't even really feel like they are big enough to be Mania matches. Like your Seth Rollins and Orton. I don't think that's big enough to be a match, right? But I think, funny enough, those matches, in terms of quality, if they get time, could be show stealers. So this match, if they got good talent in there, I'm not that enthused about Los Matadores, but they've got... Kid and Cesaro, who are, as we know, very competent in the ring. I know the Usos are going to be somewhat involved. New Day, as much as I dislike them, they can at least do some good wrestling. I'm trying to keep optimistic. This could be a good match to watch. That's what I'm trying to get over here. But we'll keep an eye on it. I don't think it will be, but it could be.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Rollins, backstage, tells J&J Security to be on the ball, be alert about Randy Orton. Noble brings up that Rollins actually was the one last week to tell them to leave the ring, and he gets an almighty slap for his troubles by his boss. And Rollins tells him that he'll fire him, but then Noble just snaps and straight out quits.
It's like, you know what? Fuck you.
Yeah, essentially quits. And then he starts talking to Mercury about what Noble kind of going mental, and Mercury just shakes his head and walks off as well. This was probably in the point of the show when I realised, I kind of know where they're going for here. But like I said, I do think at very least the acting of it and the way they kind of built up a little bit masked it somewhat, so I will give them some props. Yeah. Video package here with Brock Lesnar. Now, the last video package was awesome. Remember that one? Was it? I'm going to leave him in a pile of his own blood, urine, and vomit. I think we all love that line. Coined that phrase. In this one, he says, well, I just simply enjoy hurting people, and if he stays in the WWE, he'll be champion. If he leaves, he will be champion. He suplexed John Cena out of the main event, and his message to Roman Reigns is that he'll kick his ass. It's not a fairy tale. He will fuck up Roman Reigns. That's right. He said they bleeped it, but he did say that. I love this video package. I thought the one at SummerSlam was better, but I love these video packages by Lesnar because I love the way that he just looks like a guy. And when he says, there's very few people that WWE have where they say, "Oh, I want to kill this guy," and it just comes up feeling really cheesy. If Brock Lesnar says this stuff, I believe what he's saying, even though along this line, he just looks like, "Oh, I'm just going to kill him."
He said, I'm going to beat him up.
I'm going to beat him senseless.
It's going to be the end of that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call it a day.
He's going to have a steak backstage.
Yeah, fair enough.
with his belt hanging next to him, with Paul Heyman telling him how great he is after WrestleMania, and all this lot. Yeah, it's... Some people don't give Brock props. I think that maybe on a mic live he isn't that great, but you put him in a video package like this, some of the stuff he says is just gold. It really is.
Oh, yeah.
Big Show versus Eric Rowan, because Rowan wasn't totally finished jobbing for Show, so he's back to finish the ultimate job, like I like to say. This time it's not personal, it's just business. That's it. It's like a movie trilogy, and this is the final job. Or is it? Maybe it leads on to like Fast and Furious, where he just keeps jobbing over and over again. Yeah. New matches. When I call this a job, I mean that in every sense of the term. The match. This is funny though, right? When Big Show walks down to the ring, they ring the bell, which is something I find very odd, because that signifies the start of the match, right? But when he gets into the ring and then attacks Rowan, it's like, oh, the match never started. But why did you ring the bell? When Big Show was walking down.
So again, confused with this.
Yeah. Surely you should ring the bell once both men are in the ring, ready to compete. Ding ding, match starts. But
Yeah.
often they do this, kind of to save time. They just ding ding, and as they're going down the rope. So it was a bit weird. But yeah, literally Rowan here was just essentially just demolished by Big Show, just dealt with. There you go. Just done.
Yeah, I kind of like. I skipped this match. I don't know how I managed to do it though.
Yeah, it was.
So I was just sort of like, oh, I was just like, I really like. Why are we seeing Big Show and Rowan again? He feuded for fuck's sake, and it wasn't too long ago.
See, now you've jumped off of the sequel bandwagon. See, the thing is here, what I can think now is that obviously he's done so much jobbing now for Big Show. They could probably fire Eric Rowan, but wait, he could do more jobbing. Yeah, Big Show, Eric Rowan 4, the jobbing continues. Yeah? Should we do that?
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Obviously, like we said long ago, that WWE don't have that much stock in the guy. Ever since I said that, I get proved right every single week. They do not give a flying fuck about Eric Rowan. And you know what? WWE needs jobbers. It's just a little bit of a shame that they just keep jobbing him against the same dude. It's just like defeats any sort of the reason why Eric Rowan gets no crowd response is because any sort of feeling that this guy was a monster has been long degraded into nothing. No one thinks he's a monster. Everyone thinks he's just a weirdo who gets beaten very easily.
He's just a nobody.
Yeah. WWE announced that Larry Zbyszko will enter the Hall of Fame. Now, here is one guy that I cannot argue at all about his eligibility. He deserves to be there, outright.
Yep, done.
So, yeah, he's had a storied career back in the days of Bruno Sammartino. This is like an era of wrestling that I think is hugely underrated nowadays because obviously a lot of people.
That's it. Well, we're talking about a guy who was under the wing of Sammartino.
Yeah, that's it. And yeah, he's done great work, and sometimes he's been like backstage, along those lines later on in his career. Yeah, he's got a good match in him. Obviously wouldn't have a good match now. It's a different style of wrestling, but yeah, he deserves to be in there outright. And I would argue anyone try and type his name because I tell you what, I had problems typing his fucking name. Jesus Christ, that's a tough one. Yeah.
It's like all those Z's and the Y's.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Larry Zbyszko, yeah, deserves it. Fully does. And I tell you what, he's in a Hall of Fame that isn't exactly looking that great, but his inclusion to it makes it feel a little bit more, at least this year, a little bit more legitimate.
That's it.
The mid card takes up the ring, essentially all the majority of the mid card, led by Kane. Kane is talking about how he's going to set an example by throwing everyone over the top rope and show that he's going to win the Battle Royal.
It's like, look, I can do it all now.
Mark Henry then comes down, and he says he's going to throw his hat into the Battle Royal at Mania. And basically the mini kind of obligatory now mini rumble before the
one thing I loved is the fact it's like, oh yeah, I just brought you all here, and suddenly just everyone just knew that that's what was going to happen.
Yeah, essentially. Kane and Henry are the last two men in the ring, and the funny thing is that I typed that sentence out before that happened.
Yeah,
because it's pretty easy to predict. And then I put straight after that.
The man who brought them all together to do it, and then the guy who stepped in on it. Oh, gee, what a shock!
Yeah. The funny thing is, in my notes, I was doing it in real time, and literally just after I said, I was pretty easy to predict, and I put, oh look, it happened. Henry dumped Kane out. Okay, Henry dumped Kane out. So I was like, oh yeah, just kind of like was predicting it as it went along.
Done.
Curtis Axel was there. He tries to steal the win by tossing Henry over at the end, but then Mark Henry just chucks him over pretty easy. I would state this is pretty meh build up for the Battle Royal. I doubt many people care more or less about it anyway.
I'm just still really annoyed the fact that it's like Goldust's in the Battle Royal, but Stardust's in the ladder match.
Yeah, I'm not happy with that either. I would much rather just made it Goldust to be in that match. Would have made a pretty interesting dynamic to have both brothers involved in that match.
Yeah.
At very least then you could have it. I mean, yeah, they're not having their one-on-one match that they craved, but you could have a moment with these two. You could have plenty of moments in that match where it's just them two, But no. Apparently, and you know what? He's going to get dumped out, in the middle of that match, and no one's going to give a shit. And I think that's a real crime. I really do, because I think Goldust deserves better than that. Commentary announced on SmackDown. Oh, here we go. That there will be a 6-being interspecies match, and people wonder why we don't watch SmackDown. I'll tell you what, this is the reason why we don't watch SmackDown. Within all this...
The worst part is, I've recently been speaking to people, they're saying how SmackDown's been quite good. And I'm just like, really?
Well, I'll tell you what, they can keep their interspecies matches. I'm staying well clear. You know, I imagine SmackDown does have better wrestling, but at the end of the day, it's also irrelevant. Until it becomes relevant, like I said all along. Until it becomes a show that actually means something, because at the moment it means nothing, then I'll watch it. It means nothing at the moment.
Yeah.
JBL drops this line, and it made me smile, almost like kind of smile in terms of going a little bit insane. And he says that he's jealous of Michael Cole being able to cover that match. And I was like, I'm sure you are, JBL. I'm sure you are. He wants to cover all El Torito matches because he's
like, yeah. It's like you don't do sarcasm very well, John.
Well, no, I fully believe that JBL does want to cover those matches because he just loves blowing a gasket over little people. So
that's true.
Just loves it. Maybe, like I said before, we said maybe that's what gets him off. You know, who knows? People have weird fetishes. Maybe JBL is little people getting their tails ripped off. Who knows? Yeah. Still, I'm just reminding myself of that really horrendous segment, and I really not rather not.
Yeah.
However, I tell you who's out to try and hit what I would like to call a hat trick, a trifecta of 3 weeks back-to-back 5-star promos. Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Paul Heyman.
Oh,
and
God,
he
yes.
is on fire. Jesus Christ, is he on fire. He is selling the main event of WrestleMania probably as good as anyone could in his position. I don't think anyone in the world could do what he's doing at the moment better than him. And that's a pretty big statement. So he's out there anyway. He says that Brock Lesnar is the most legitimate champion that WWE or UFC have ever had. And he says that Lesnar isn't coming out to WrestleMania to make love. He's coming to make war. And then later on, he'll make love to Vince's bank account.
That's it. And he will go home and make love on his big pile of money.
Yeah, that's it. He'll conquer Vince's bank account. I fully think he will. If he re-signs with WWE, fuck me, I think he's getting a shit ton of money for doing so.
Yeah.
As if he's not getting enough money as it is now anyway. He says that we're stuck with Lesnar being champion, and his mic cuts out again. I will state that, as I said before last week, it has a built-in quality meter. If it goes too high, then it just shuts off, has to reboot.
That's it. It's like, no.
He kind of says there that, you can keep doing this if you like. You can keep trying to, shut off my mic, but, doesn't change what's going to happen at WrestleMania when my guy essentially annihilates your guy. Then he puts over Reigns. He kind of says, I would put my money on him and all this stuff that he said before. Only Paul Heyman can find a way of building up his opponent, and still making it seem believable, while at the same time, building up the match. But he says that Lesnar will give him a prison beating. I thought that was quite an audacious line. He says that Reigns can't win, and it's at this point where my prediction for the main event at WrestleMania was pretty much picked for me at that moment. I'm not going to say what it is. I'll say that for next week. Next week, obviously, will be the WrestleMania prediction. But when he said that line, I was like, okay, I think I know my prediction for this match. But we'll see how we'll go from that. However, what I will state here is that, at this point, this wasn't the end of the segment. It was the end of Heyman's alone part of the segment. Yes, Paul Heyman at the moment is the on-form guy in the entirety of WWE. If we're going to class in terms of entertainment, in terms of quality in his field of work, Paul Heyman at the moment is WWE's hottest property.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I fully mean that.
Hands down.
I am scared if WWE cannot utilize Paul Heyman correctly, if Brock Lesnar leaves and goes to UFC, it is going to be all down to them, because Paul Heyman can do the work. You just need to give him something to work with. And people can argue, his work with other people has been questionable at best. There's no one on the mic better than Paul Heyman at the moment. He's the best promo guy they've got. And I would say by a clear fucking mile, by the quality
I
of the
still
promos he
stand
did
by
at
the
the moment.
fact that I'd love to see Paul Heyman and Bray Wyatt go at it for
Yeah.
promos.
But at the end of the day, I hope that this program isn't the last we see with Heyman involved. Because one thing he's proved that he can do that I could guarantee pretty much no one else on that roster can do, at the very least at the level that Heyman can do, he can sell a big match.
Yeah.
Right? Better than
Oh, is
anyone.
this marquee? I can make it marquee.
Yeah. He'll make a main event feel like it is, like it's worth buying, right? Which is exactly what you want. He makes it feel legitimate. He makes it feel like a fight. He makes it feel like top tier, and that's exactly what he's done with this match.
That's it.
I'll tell you what, Roman Reigns may not know it yet, but if he gets a huge response at WrestleMania, let's say the fans do take to him and he gets a big cheer, which I think is still questionable, he'll have to thank his lucky socks and also thank Paul Heyman for putting him in that position, because Paul
Yeah.
Heyman has talked them both fantastically. However, that isn't the end of the segment, because Roman Reigns does come down, and he's got like a new shirt. Basically, on it says "I can, I will." I actually quite like that as a slogan.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's still got the one versus all on the back.
Yeah, but I didn't like the one versus all. Personally, that whole thing. I think "I can, I will" is a little bit more powerful.
Yeah.
You can use that in segments. If you think there's no way that I can beat him, I can, I will, and you can say that lots in a promo. So that's okay.
Like you did.
You did here. But Reigns says that his issue isn't with Paul Heyman and it's with Lesnar, and he's going to direct it towards him. So he pretty much just kind of blanks him off from then.
It's like, shut up, Paul. Stand over there.
That's it. He says that he expects a fight, he expects a war, and he also expects to be carried out of the ring, but he'll do it with the title on his shoulder. It was quite a short promo by Reigns, but I tell you what, guys, I actually quite liked it. I
thought he did a very good job with this promo.
Yeah, which we haven't been able to say much recently, but yeah, I think he did great. I think he did fine in this promo.
I think he did pretty good, like incorporating Heyman, because he's just like, you know me, you know my family. I've got a big family. It's like there's a lot of people who can carry me out of there.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I'm going to go into what I was saying earlier on. Right, a lot of people are negative towards Reigns. They want Daniel Bryan to be the guy. Right. I'm going to say this is a little bit of a bombshell to Daniel Bryan fans, and we're Daniel Bryan fans here. I can see why they want Roman Reigns more as the big guy to lead the company than Daniel Bryan. And the main reason isn't the in-ring work, it's outside of the ring. Let me try and explain. Daniel Bryan, phenomenal talent, yeah? Best wrestler they've got, technical wrestler, and like I said, he's got the Bret Hart gene where he can have great matches with anybody, and he should be a top star, right? I'm not stating, right? But we've always said on this show that being a top star means not only all the stuff that you do in the ring, it's the stuff that you do out of it. It's media appearances. It's going on to do tons of this other stuff. Daniel Bryan may be the first person to admit he isn't that good at doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Right? He doesn't like doing it. Right? He doesn't enjoy doing it. In fact, if you watch the documentary they did about Bryan going into WrestleMania 30, he says a lot of the times, I just feel out of place. I don't feel like I don't feel like I should be in a ring, not out here. I think Roman Reigns does that better, that outside of the ring, incorporating that part of it better. He does have a better look.
He incorporates the media side of it all so much better.
Yeah. And let's face it, right, in an ideal world, I'm not stating you can have one or the other. That's not what I'm going to say when I say what I say next, okay? I think that Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns should be top stars. This whole association that WWE only needs one star should be abolished. You should have 4, 5, 6, 7, right?
Yeah.
You should have a plethora of huge stars that should all be thought of as title contenders.
That's it. Like they keep going about like the big five for NXT, and it's like you need it for your main roster.
Yeah. So I want, guys, I'm going to say this right now. I want Roman Reigns to be a big star for the WWE. I do. I want him to be champion. All right? maybe not yet. I didn't say I wanted to be champion at WrestleMania. That's something different. I still think it's a little bit too early for him because he needs a little bit more development. But I'm fine with him winning the belt. I'm fine with him being billed as a top star. A lot of people dislike it because they think, oh, okay, they're going to have only Reigns. But in an ideal world, this is what I want. I want Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan to be having tons of matches in the future for the WWE World Championship.
Yeah.
Yeah? That's the way.
That's it. And nobody can turn around and say that they didn't have a good match at Fastlane.
Yeah, I thought their match was fine. I thought it was great. So yeah, we've never said before on the show that we don't want Roman Reigns to be a big star. There is a lot of people that don't. I would state that try and change your mindset in the sense of, okay, you don't want Roman Reigns to be a top star. So who do you want to be a top star? Fine, you want Daniel Bryan to be a top star. Who does he rival with 5 years from now?
That's it.
Are you going to do the John Cena thing where you just keep feeding new guys to him? Eventually you're going to get pissed off with Bryan if they were to push him in that same sense. No, this is the ideal way that I want to do it. I want 5, 6, 7 top stars. I want 5 years down the line, I want to be Roman Reigns as an established champion. Maybe he's rivaling with Daniel Bryan. But oh no, look, Finn Balor gets involved. He's a top star now, and he's rivaling for the title. Oh, Kevin Owens is here, and he's now, building up, getting on a long streak, maybe pushing towards. That's the way I want it. I want these huge stars, and then maybe 5 years down the line, because Cena probably isn't going to be gone by then, you can have one of these things. Cena's getting redemption, and he wants to fight these guys and try and become champion again, but maybe he just hasn't got it anymore, and these guys can outlast.
That's it, like reignite a former glory sort of thing.
Yeah, that's the way I want it to go. I don't want Reigns to be just shelved aside and say, oh, well, you're not working, go away. I want lots of big stars. I don't want it to be like the last 10 years where WWE have thrown all their coins into the John Cena pot. I don't want that. I want lots of people. I want to go back to the days where you didn't just have John Cena on Raw. You had The Undertaker, you had Austin, you had The Rock, you had Kurt Angle, you had Kane was big back then. You had
Triple H,
yeah, Eddie Guerrero, Triple H. Look at all these names that we're saying out here now. There's not many now in WWE that can be thought of in the same fashion. That's the issue that's happened there. So yeah. Moving on anyway, we're actually running out of time, so I need to run through the rest of this show. Backstage, Renee Young asks Paul Heyman for a reaction on what Reigns said earlier on. He says that Reigns doesn't have to wait until WrestleMania to get face to face with Brock Lesnar because Lesnar will be on Raw next week. So that should be something interesting for the Go Home show to see these two guys.
That's it.
And yeah, if there's an MVP for this month, as we said, it's Paul Heyman. He deserves that MVP award.
By far.
Stardust, Barrett, and Harper, here we go, versus Bryan, Ambrose, and Dolph Ziggler. Now, just as I'm preparing for what could be a decent 6-man tag match, villain of the month, R-Truth decides to show up at ringside. And at first, he doesn't have a microphone on him. And then I realise he's making his way to the commentary table.
Very gingerly.
He's got the IC title strapped to his back. Oh god, he's picking up a headset. Oh shit, what's about to happen? And then pretty much they start talking about surfing university. And that's the point where I was like, I really don't want to rant about this again. So Matt, you rant about it.
I really don't want to. I can't. It's just the fact that I'll just start repeating everything from last week. I hated it. I want this done. I'm sick of this whole stealing of the title, and Truth's just like, oh no, I'm not stealing it. Why would you say I'm stealing it? Oh, he just patted me on the back for good luck. It's like a lucky rabbit's foot. It's the fucking IC belt. No, it's not. Nah. I'm done with it.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Mania to be done. It's like, because then it's just like, none of it will matter anymore.
Yeah, it'll be just done and finished. I think the biggest travesty in this match is the fact that for huge portions of what was a pretty kick-ass match was the commentary.
Unbearable.
Yeah, the commentary just weren't even alluding to there was a match happening. I said last week, why have a match if you're not going to talk about it? It was a little bit the same this week. And the fact is that the match this week was really good. There was parts this week I was watching the match and there was some great action in the ring, and you're like, come on, you've got 4 guys. One of you just talk about what the fuck is happening in the ring. Instead of talking about, oh no, don't call me R-Truth, it's R-Trizzle. Fucking shut
That's
up.
it.
I want to focus on what the awesome action is in the middle of this ring and these guys giving us a good match. That's what I want to focus on. But no, it didn't end up being that way.
Can't be that way.
That's it. Now, I mean, Michael Cole states a line on commentary stating that the Intercontinental title situation at the moment is pretty damn funny. Well, I tell you what, I must have missed the fucking punchline because I'm not laughing. I haven't been laughing since this whole thing started, and obviously by you, Matt, you haven't been laughing either because you know.
No.
I wonder who has been laughing, and not me, to be honest. So Ambrose wins the match here via Dirty Deeds, and what I would say is quite an entertaining bout. Just a huge shame that commentary just didn't allude to the fact that the match was of good quality. But afterwards, Barrett finally ends up with the IC title. After all this build-up, he basically bullhammers everyone, including R-Truth, which was, I would state, was quite entertaining.
It's like, who's got my damn belt? Whack, whack, whack.
I would like to think that Barrett has been listening to what we've been saying and did something for his countrymen. Yeah, that's it. Knocked the potatoes out of R-Truth, hopefully. Hopefully he did. But yeah, as you say there, Matt, nah. The match itself probably will be quite entertaining. In fact, it might be, really entertaining. It could be something special. The build up to it, however, yeah, pretty shit, to be honest.
Yeah.
But there we are. Backstage, Stephanie and Triple H are met by Rollins, and Seth is just, oh man, he's just pissed. All his mates ditching him there. He's got Kane, Big Show, and JJ Security all ditching him, He asks them, how are you going to fix this? What are you going to do? How are you going to fix this? And Steph, in pretty much no uncertain terms, just says, well, you need to man up. Just lie in the bed that you've made. Then Rollins kind of gets a bit pissy. He says, oh, well, are you just doing this because Triple H is, just scared of Sting? Just keeps hiding away from him. And obviously that was the wrong thing to say, obviously.
It's like, idiot.
That's it. So he basically, he basically gets, evil-eyed out of the office, and that he's got no backup. Or does he? Dun, 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 sort of thing. I kind of cottoned on, obviously, earlier on in the show what they were going for, so you kind of expected this promo to happen,
Yeah.
But fair enough. Bray Wyatt is backstage. He has this new red urn that he has, and he says that he remembers Abigail sitting in the rocking chair and all the things that she said to him about people like The Undertaker. He says that last week's actions only turned that chair to dust, and then you realise that urn is actually the dust of the chair that he had.
Yeah.
He pours it all over himself. He says, what is left of The Undertaker, he asks, after the broken streak, and his fate is now sealed at WrestleMania. I can't really say much different about this promo, apart from the fact that it was good, but it's... I mean, like I said, I've said this all along. Wyatt has pushed this as far as he can go. It's okay, the build-up to it, but it can't go any further without Taker being there. It can't go any further. He's done all he can. I mean, there is only one more week. And at this point, with 1 week left to go, I would state, well, at this point, you should probably just wait out and let him appear at WrestleMania, not let him come up on Raw, but still, it's... Yeah, it is what it is.
That's it.
They announced Bill Simmons and Snoop Dogg will be on Raw next week, so you can expect a pretty cringeworthy segment from it, that's what I would say. But...
Oh, I can't wait.
I'm being positive and thinking, well, it can't be worse than Gifford and Hoda, so that's a plus. Can't be worse than that. I'm setting myself up for a fall now,
to be fair.
I'm setting myself
big
up.
fall.
Yeah. Oh, I'm worried now. I'm worried. Okay. This leads to the main event, or the non-main event, shall we say. Orton versus Rollins. So as you say, this match doesn't even really begin. As Orton comes out, he's waiting for Rollins. Rollins comes out and starts laughing maniacally, as the evil guy should do. And says, oh, well, it took you 3 weeks to kind of get your revenge on me. It only took me 3 hours to make a fool out of you. And the rest of the authority all come out. They all flank him in the ring, kind of Nexus style. If you remember, they used to go around the ring and he used to tell them when to jump up and get up onto the apron.
That's it.
And then the lights go out. You hear the crow, and then Sting is in the middle of the ring. And him and Orton basically clear the ring with the chair and the bat. And Sting then, I would state, Stinger splashes J&J Security, he does the death drop on Noble. And I tell you what, Matt, I don't know if you noticed, he looks in all right shape, doesn't he, Sting?
Yeah, it looks fine.
Bouncing around
looks
that ring.
match ready.
Yeah, looks more than ready for a match. I think he looks far better than, I tell you what, he looks far better than what I thought he would.
Yeah.
He won't have a long match with Triple H, I think maybe about 10 minutes, but he could probably give us a half decent match in 10 minutes. And he looks like he can bump. He tell you what, he did the Stinger splash. Yeah, it's not going to be as impressive as it was in his younger years. Just taper your expectations a bit. But he was bumping around okay and fighting around. You know, he didn't seem to break that much of a sweat. He was aggressive in this segment. He was shouting out. He was amped up. Yeah, Sting looked great.
Good.
Yeah, he looked good, I have to say. What do you think about Sting showing up?
I loved it.
I thought it was great. Great way to
The thing is, it had to be done.
Yeah. Yeah, and I tell you what, I'm much more excited now for the Sting Triple H match because each time I see Sting in a ring, it just looks like he's more able. Obviously he has been training hard for this match, and I appreciate that because it shows that he looks in better shape, and it makes me more excited for the match that they could have. However, one little thing that was slightly annoying, he did actually cut a promo. It's the first time he's spoken on the mic since being in WWE. And you think they would put that on the show. It was on the WWE Network. And it was a good promo. So
was it? I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, no, it was short and sweet, but it was good. Very, very enthusiastic, very driven. And yeah, I have no unearthly idea why they didn't let the show end with him speaking, but the way it is, I guess.
Idiocy.
Yeah. So, we'll talk about this. I mean, like I said, we're running out of time for this show. We've already gone over 2 hours again. All in all, I thought this was a much more well-rounded show than last week. Not that it was hard to beat, and I didn't think that it was fantastic, but I would state it's worth one watch, no more rewatches after that.
Yeah.
Are you under the same sort of thought?
It did what it needed to do.
Yeah. It's a mid-monther. We all know what mid-monther means by now, and fucking hell, last month was the epitome of what a mid-monther can be when it's really bad. But I tell you what, that first hour, I mean, they started off the show with a Divas match that lasted 10 minutes, and that was good. I was shocked. I was in a good mood from then, so that was a good way to start off their show in terms of in-ring. And you know what? There wasn't that many matches that really... I mean, the 6-man tag match was really good. It's just a shame that it just wasn't even referenced by the commentator.
That's it. It just got ruined by commentary.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, give the show a watch once. I wouldn't really bother going back again, but it is worth at least your time for it.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, is there anything else you want to cover this week?
No, I got nothing left to say, really.
Nothing left to say, no problem. We've covered this week. Tell you what, my voice is getting hoarse again. I'm not having this problem. I have to look into get some honey or something, make it.
That's it. Throat exercises.
That's it. I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the show. It's not long now until 1, obviously WrestleMania, and 2, the live show that we're going to. So that should be interesting.
Especially considering it's less than a month away.
I know, that's crazy. There's big things happening with the podcast going forward. Obviously, a lot of those will take place after episode 75, which is looming. Jesus Christ.
That's it. It's creeping round.
That's it. And we're going to be looking, obviously, we're going to be breaking 250 subscribers soon, so thank you all for that. Apart from that, obviously, as before, if you do want to leave us any questions, you can leave that in the comments below, or you can send a tweet to us at Matt.
At Talk Wrestle Pod.
Oh, yeah. It sounds sexy when you say it. Oh, yeah.
Flow.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was a bit weird there, but still. 2 hours of talking wrestling, we're in time. If you're new to the channel and you did enjoy the episode, by all means subscribe. You don't want to miss our episodes. We do one every single week, and we review every single pay-per-view as well. And apart from that, thank you guys for watching, and we do appreciate all the support. And next week will be the final Raw before WrestleMania, and literally the day that you guys will be getting that episode, it will be WrestleMania.
That's it.
Big show, and
it'll be big.
That's it. Do you have your day off after WrestleMania, Matt? Or are you going to work? You do, okay.
Of course, I got the day off after.
could be a chance, maybe if we wangle it, we could get an extra done. the day after WrestleMania. Maybe. I'm not promising anything yet. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I know
have to catch up to sleep first.
Here's my WrestleMania schedule, just to talk to obviously with the fans here, listen to us as well. My WrestleMania schedule is obviously from midnight to 4 watching WrestleMania. I go to bed. 2 hours later, I wake up.
Yeah.
And then later on, I've got a little bit of like a few hours in the day where all the kids are out of the house, and then I'm literally just going to fucking die in bed. I'm just gonna be like, I need a nap. Hopefully that will service me for other.
You'll have earned it.
Yeah. I could. One thing
just
I would
soldier on like that. Where mine's just literally like, 4 o'clock, just sleep.
The only other thing that I could do is not watch it when it's live and watch it the morning after. But then I'm like, okay, I can't touch any sort of thing that has any sort of connection to social media.
Does it have internet? I can't touch it.
Yeah, I can't touch it. I just literally, I'll probably just put my Xbox on, just put WrestleMania on, just don't touch anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, knowing my luck, someone will probably send me like, a message on Xbox. All right, guys, we've rambled on long enough. Like I said, we do hope you guys have a great week. We hope you guys did enjoy the episode, and we'll catch you all next time.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.